Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to World of Watches TV, the very best 3 hours in not just home shopping, but I'm going to say probably television in general. That's right, ever. A man of very few words, just the best TV ever, pretty much. So nice to have you guys joining us today. My name is Megan Harris, and I have a very special guest joining me once again, Mr. Niso Barokas. Now, you are more than just a name around here. He's the man, the myth, the legend. Most of the watches that we actually air and sell here on World of Watches TV come out of this guy's brain up here.
I'm fortunate enough
kind of scary, right?
I'm fortunate enough to be selected as being the creative director and the guy that come with a vision on the 6-7 brands that we have. We're actually pregnant with the 7 brands. So
oh my gosh, you're having a watch baby?
Yeah, we have a watch.
And you look so good too. I would have had no idea.
So we have 6 kids and one on the way. So I've been fortunate enough a year ago to get to get a good team behind me and go and implement the vision that we have on every particular brand that we are carrying.
So some of our company-owned brands here at Swiss Watch International, the main one, perhaps the flagship brand, is really Swiss Legend.
Yes.
That one, along with Lucian Peard, Ben & Sons, so many others, Redline, Eleni Barokas, so many different great company-owned brands. And when Niso comes out, as he has been doing recently, he always brings with him a few surprises. So today, we are actually going to be debuting a new Swiss-made collection from Swiss Legend. He was here on our last show and brought out a few variations, but today we've got even more. And what's so great about this is not just Wiley and I being able to explain the specifications about a watch, but for you guys at home to really understand about these brands. So what we're looking at right now is the Blue Genev collection. And on our last show, Niso, you actually said that this is really the origin of where our brand is going, the core.
I think I use the word core because this is a collection that I strongly believe that represent the transition of Swiss Legend into Swiss made. First of all, the minute you look at the watch, the minute you look at it, you right away recognize the characteristics of the big brands in the world that doing the casual sport, and by the way, the most sellable category of all times is the casual sport. Those watches that can be with you in the morning, lunch, and evening, in every occasion. And those are the watches this is the collection that I spend more time to develop. And the beauty of it is the simplicity and the details that I am crazy about details, as most of you know, on the dial. All the numbers applied, all the indexes applied, all the printing is 3D printing. You see, there is a lot of process going on in these watches to bring them to a level that we can call them real Swiss-made watches. Even the Swiss factories, the assembly places that we are working with, they have a very high standard into what kind of elements we are bringing them, what kind of the quality of the cases, the quality of the breast. Everything have to pass certain standard to be able for them to accept this and to assemble it and call it and certify it as a Swiss-made watch. And this is the crown collection of the Swiss-made going forward, the Blue Genev collection, and that's the reason I did also different sizes, different execution of colors and straps to be able to attend to different audiences and wide audiences of people, ladies, younger one, more older one, but I think we have a very successful collection, and we can see it already from the sales. Those things are flying. People realize the quality. You can see the reviews on different places. Those are just the best watches Swiss Legend did, I think, ever. This is the best.
So what we're talking about here, what we're actually looking at right now are 2 of the ladies' variations. And I like that you said that there are many different sizes. Because what's so great is this collection, as you were saying earlier, actually comes in a 38 millimeter, which is the most petite size. Right here, I'm showing you 2 variations for the ladies. The Blue Genev right here, this is a 38 millimeter case. Now this is a Swiss-made watch. This is my hot pick for the show, and we'll get into all of the specifications later. But what I love, and I know you talk about this on the shows when you come on before, You are very, very into researching what is current, what is trendy, so to say.
That's right.
What people are wearing.
That's right. One of the biggest challenges that we had, for example, in this watch, if you can see, is that, as you can see, the top ring is blue ceramic. Mm-hmm. So go and try to match the color of natural mother of pearl in the dial that you can see. You can see the quality of the mother of pearl is just amazing. And to match it with also ceramic, that it's also something that you put together, elements that you put together and paint it in a certain way and warm and like in a way cook it in the oven and to bring it to a level of fitting and matching the colors perfectly. So those are the challenges that sometimes taking months and months of trial and production and sampling. So those things take time. But I have 30 years experience in this business doing watches.
Oh my gosh, you were just a child.
Yeah, I was just born.
Just in third grade,
so
just
I
sketching
did,
out watches.
Also, before I joined the company, I did a lot of watches for SWI and Swiss Legend. So that's the reason they call me also. I'm the one that designed the Neptune,
the Ceramica,
the South Beach, the Tungsten. All these watches come from me. I was working with Leo on that together. So right now I'm leading those, and I'm happy and proud to lead them with this kind of watches.
So looking at what we're going to go to over here, which is in front of Niso, we're looking at two different sizes actually. The chronographs that you see right here are the 48 millimeters, and you said you went with a 3-hand in a 46 millimeter. Is that to accommodate the movements inside, or you wanted to give people options?
I would like to give, yes, I really wanted to give options to people. Number one, in terms of some people, prefer to have a more classic look and have 3 hands. I find it also very, very good watch to be worn as, it's very popular today to have the boyfriend watch. Mm-hmm. So also ladies in the company, like Carlita, that's working in our company, the executive in our company, she's wearing this watch.
I think that's great.
And the chronograph, the big chronographs are really more for men that want to have impressive, good quality looking, great watch.
I just want them to get a close-up of
this one.
Yes,
they should. I mean, I'm happy that there is a television and we can record and show the details of these watches instead of just being on the internet and seeing that in 2D. So I'm very happy that we have, look at the details.
Look at how that interesting texture on the center chapter, it almost looks like a snake skin. You were telling me also that in some of these watches, some of these new Swiss-made Swiss Legends, and with some of the Lucian Peard watches that you also designed recently, you actually went with some new movement choices.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that?
Thank you for the question, because I think it's
You're welcome. It's just on the keycards.
It's a good question. It's something I didn't thought to mention because I was more focused on the aesthetic aspect of the watch. But obviously, the watch is not a watch without the movement inside.
Of course not.
And this movement, 8371 from ISA, Switzerland, this is the latest creation of the company after 5 years of development. 5 years of development. We have videos that I hope we're going to have next week to show you guys how they make and test these movements. And you can see that this movement that is completely new for this year, and we are the first one. I think we are the first one that's starting to use that, or one of the first ones that have the company really had really gave us this. We are proud to have these movements right away. To be the first ones that introduced this to our people. If you can see the sub dials on 3 and 9, they are aligned exactly in the same line with the hands, with the center of the hands.
Yeah, I notice most of the time, that when you see a chronograph, they're always a little bit closer up, almost near the 2 and the 10 o'clock.
That's right. This is because the quartz mechanism usually do not allow this kind of sub-dials to be in this position. So they really have to put it higher to be able for the steam, for the crown to do its job. So, but here they find a way to design it to look like the automatic watches from the past, that you can see the high-end automatic watches that the sub-dials are in 3 and 9 position. This is giving also much more possibilities and varieties of designs that we can work with. And that's the position of the sub-dials that I always liked and I always prayed to have, but I didn't have the chance till this year. So I'm happy that we have that, and we are designing the watches.
You really are into the details, huh? You just got to get it just right. Will you please?
I'm suffering because of that. Because my team is also, I can see that I'm stretching them to a limit in terms of every detail on the watch. If it's the height of the indexes, if it's the printing, if it's the different pictures on the dial that you can see. So every detail, the colorways and the fitting of everything, this is my passion, and I'm doing this with all the love I have.
Give us, I know we have to wrap in a moment because apparently you do have another job in an office that you have to hang out in. Give us a little idea of what else we can expect to see later on coming from Swiss Made Swiss Legend.
First of all, like I explained yesterday in our show, is that the Swiss Legend going to be divided into two categories. The one category is the more famous category, is the casual sport, the one that you see right now, that you just saw, the Blue Genev collections, the Legacy collections that we're going to air later on. Those are the daily and night watches. And then we're going to have the creative, big, diving-inspired watches that will be in a larger sizes, like 48 millimeter and up.
Wow. Kind of like that Eleni Barocas design, very fashion-forward.
A little bit more larger size watches that will be a bit more creative. Also for people that like to express their individuality, and also people that like to collect watches. So we are going to add and maybe replace your collection very soon. Starting now, the watches are just coming your way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you so much.
All right, so what we're going to do right now, Niso unfortunately does have to go back to his office. So Wiley Lowe, I know, he's got more to work on. Wiley Lowe is going to come out here and join me as always. We're going to jump into a preview of this collection and then go to my hot pick. You know,
thank you, Wiley, for giving your important seat here.
He's keeping it warm for you. Thanks, Niso.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's jump into a preview. All right, first one up. Now, this is that mid-range size. This is when Niso was talking about how the Blue Genev does come in 4 different sizes. This on the bracelet is that more moderate size, ladies, that we can wear. This features that all-new ISA 8371 movement. You've got the black textured dial with the black ceramic bezel insert. If you watched the show before, you know I am crazy about black and rose. So I love this. I love that it's all rose for the case and the bracelet. $200. Now, understand for a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Swiss-made watch. Swiss-made watch. That means it was a Swiss-made movement inside. That means 60% at minimum of the value of the parts of this watch are of Swiss origin. It was packaged and assembled in Switzerland and completed final inspection in Switzerland. Just like those high-end thousands and thousands of dollar watches you've got on your wrists right now, Swiss Legend has the exact same quality for $200. $40 gets it home. You know what? I'm feeling generous. Every single item. Let's put them all on 5 payments today. That has nothing to do with me, but you know what? You guys at home don't know that. I'm going to say 5 payments across the board. That means you put $40 down on any major credit card. We ship this watch to you for free tomorrow, 287-827. Now, coming up right after that, this is a watch, and you know what's funny is this exact variation is a watch that I said on the last show I need to own, and I saw it again today, and I really, really feel the same. I really want this watch. Black and rose again. This is the 38 millimeter. These watches all have 200 meters of water resistance. 200 meters. That means you can wear this, as Niso said, all day, all night, wear it to the gym, wear it to the office, wear it scuba diving. 5 payments of $34, 287-849. Oh, hello there.
Well, hi there. I have to tell you.
You have to speak in an accent, please. I told you. Somebody get this man a sport coat
that is
and some long hair.
Hard act to follow.
I know.
To see, I mean, it's such a rarity. Because we want to emphasize this to you. that we are watch designers, we're watch makers, we are watch fanatics here. And literally to be able to walk down the palatial halls of Swiss Watch International and to see one of the presidents, one of the vice presidents of the company, a CEO, and watching them design these watches and then literally bring them straight to you is how we're able to do this. There is not 1,000 people between us and the manufacturing of the watch. So please understand, when you see some of these big name watches broadcast in every major publication, on television, on billboards, that costs money.
Yeah.
And because literally Swiss Watch International's World of Watches is a 3-hour commercial as well as a way to distribute those products.
We're pretty much just talking billboards.
We are.
We're very expensive. We need to be more expensive.
We need to be very much more expensive. This is how you can bring a watch of this quality, all Swiss made, for $179.99. And believe it or not, just $36 gets a watch of that quality home. I mean, that's a 46-millimeter case, that beautiful two-tone with both you and I love that. The ISA 2331 movement is fantastic. Please do not hesitate, because we have such an incredible show. And look at this next watch. Tell me this isn't one of the most beautiful dials you've seen in a long time.
Of course it is. This is my hot pick.
I
287-834.
didn't like it at all.
He
I
didn't even
did
know
not
that.
know that.
You know what's funny is we have a few variations of this watch. We have a lot of variations, and we're actually going to, later on in the show, remind you of some of the other variations. And when I mean variations, I mean other color combos and strap combos that we had on our last show. So don't worry if you missed our last show. We're going to catch you right up. But what's funny is on our last show, we had the blue Genev in this color combination. But it was in the full size, I believe it was the 48-millimeter men's chronograph variation. And I just kept commenting about how much I loved that royal blue dial. And what's so special about it is you see how when the light hits it just right, the way some of that color gets picked up, and in certain areas it almost looks like you're looking into like the Caribbean Sea. That's because that is an A-grade mother of pearl dial. Now, Niso touched on this briefly a moment ago, the fact that this is a natural mother of pearl dial. It is painted. What you're actually looking at is the light shining through the mother of pearl. The other side of this mother of pearl dial, the side that you cannot see, that's the side that's been painted. Isn't that interesting? It's not the front side that's actually painted. It's the back side of the dial. And then you're actually seeing color coming through. It's almost like science, which of course does make me feel a little bit nervous. You're actually seeing that color reflected through the dial from the painted underside.
Well, nacre, which is mother of pearl, has been used for thousands of years in decoration as well as even currency. And to see it now, once again, displayed in such a way that it is taking that beauty and putting it into a piece of jewelry, which is art, which is actually, you know, a fantastic timepiece. Because aren't some of these watches as much jewelry as they are timepieces? You
know, most of the time I've found that as I've been working here a few years, and of course I'm always wearing watches when I'm getting dressed up, I actually find that now I accessorize more with like earrings or rings because I always have to have just something on my wrist to watch. And what's fun is a lot of ladies, I know that we agree that watches are really jewelry for the wrist. And of course we see sometimes, as you and I know, we see diamond ones and we say, oh, it's really jewelry. But they are such statement pieces. So it feels very special to almost have something so unique. Look at this from afar. You can really see that blue dial. It's so vibrant. The color is so saturated.
I remember being in his office and Niso saying, look at these. And he showed one of the dials and it was gorgeous. And he goes, that is wrong. That is just wrong. I want a different shade of blue. That's not the blue I want. And eventually he came up with this color and it was the right shade of blue. And the others were gorgeous. I mean, you can't imagine how many samples were laid out in front of us.
It's so funny when he talks about being in the details, because he really is.
Very much so. Very much so.
You can see here with that pop of blue, we'll get a close-up shot here. The pop of blue in the dial isn't just the mother of pearl. It's actually the ceramic ring. And as Niso was talking about, and this is something that you can, I've thought about it before, but we don't really realize until we hear somebody sitting here. They have to match these colors so perfectly, because think about it. These are two completely different materials. This is ceramic that is actually baked in an oven. Well, it's heat treated to become the scratch resistant ceramic that we know. But that dial of mother of pearl that's been painted, and then this compound, ceramic actually starts off almost like a powder compound to then become a ceramic bezel insert. I know you know more of these technical aspects than I do, but how is it that, I mean, it's incredible to think that two completely different materials would be so perfectly matched that even from afar, it looks like it's one dial piece.
You know, for years, the bezel on a watch would be made out of enamel.
Okay.
And some of the highest end watches would use an inlaid enamel. But what's the problem with enamel? It scratches. And, you know, a brand that we can't mention, Rolex, who said that? Rolex for years had used a form of enamel on there. But eventually, they chose to use the ceramic because it's going to keep that look and luster.
Yes.
And the fact that we have matched up that bezel, that ceramic, and the mother of pearl, you have one of the most delicate things. That's why mother of pearl is so expensive. It can easily be damaged if it was on the outside, and they have to go through so many slices of mother of pearl before they can get a piece that's usable. So here they've taken something so delicate, put it under, you know, under the protective glass right here, the Sapphitech crystal, and then one of the hardest substances right next to it, that beautiful ceramic. I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous.
So we've got a ton of variations. This is the ladies' version on the bracelet, 38 millimeter. You can see it fits beautifully. We've got a ton to go through. I have the two-tone for this one. I love the look of the royal blue mixed with the rose, which is a two-tone on the bracelet of rose and silver tone. We'll show you more options. You know, I'm partial also to the silicone strap variation. So for right now, though, today's show, Swiss-made blue Genev in the blue dial. This is my hot pick. Swiss-made watch for under...
Just right there, so it's behind your thing, so we
Oh,
can't
haha. For under $200 and on 5 stress-free payments. So one last look here. What's interesting, though, is your hot pick, not a Swiss legend, but one of Nisso's latest designs that he came out onto the show about 2 weeks ago and debuted. So we're just like his fan club or something. I mean, I feel like we're like groupies.
I love the fact that when we took over and purchased the Lucian Peard name, that they didn't just carry on and just keep building the same old watches. This, to me, when he handed the prototype and said, "Oh, look at this," I went running down the hall like a kid. And you remember I wore it on the show.
Yes, I know.
Just briefly, and I was flashing the watch to the world. Do you remember that?
I remember on the last show you also tried to steal a prototype.
Yes,
when we
I
were leaving
did.
here, you had to drop it off.
And what does this mean when Nisso does this, you know, like
When
his
he's
throat,
shaking you down?
know, when he's doing this at his throat?
You're the only person that gets a pat down by security when you leave.
I pay for that. And I want you to realize that the Matador, which is what you're seeing now, is a Lucian Peard brand new watch. As they're coming in even closer, can your hot pick do this?
No, it cannot.
It's almost mesmerizing. Look deeply into your television. You will buy this watch. But only a handful of you will, because this is the limited edition piece of only 200 for the planet. Now, we only have a certain number of these left because these have been available, as you said, for weeks now. And they are going so incredibly fast. I love the fact that you are bringing up, they're coming in even closer. It's almost like a face looking at you. It does look like an angry bird. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure Nisso's coming back with a hit squad. 200 parts within this watch, and you're seeing some of the most beautiful and active in motion right now. And what you're seeing are 2 beating hearts, 2 barrels that are going on with the watch. Now, the watch is called the Matador because Nisso, its father, its designer, said that he loved the fact that when he looked at the 2 barrels standing face to face like this on the watch, that it looked like a bull and a matador standing at odds, just waiting for that intense moment. And he said, I saw the sweep hand and the hands of the watch like the swords that the matador would use. You know, when they spear the bull right in the hump of the back? Oh, he said, I saw it. It was such a very romantic, don't tell PETA, but very romantic image at that moment. Now, what you have, just briefly, is the 2HR851 automatic movement within this watch. And the mere motion of your wrist, the movement of that rotor, is going to power the watch. This 46 millimeter case actually has 50 meters of water resistance to it, but it has a 42 joule automatic that is providing 44 hours of power. Now, if you've ever seen, and go ahead and draw into that even closer shot, one of the things that drives me crazy about automatic watches is never knowing, do I have a full charge, half wind? And if you're in a rush, you don't necessarily want to always wind the watch, which you can manually through the crown. But notice there is a retrograde power indicator right below the limited edition sign on the watch. Simply by winding the watch. Now this is at full power. I cannot wind this anymore because you can see there it is absolutely full. So I want you to just continue to take a look right there, and you're able to see into the beating hearts of the watch. Now, is that not just incredible? I love the texturing that it was in this dial. That, to me, I think looks incredible. You can see that there. The texturing that is on the case of the watch, it is an extended coinage. Now, so you do need to realize it's a thick watch, but you're accommodating this monster of a movement in here that's going to be reliable and accurate for years to come. 200 moving parts within this watch, Sapphitech crystal, both front and back, limited edition to only 200 pieces. Let me stress this to you. 7.5 billion people in the world, and you're only going to have 200 of these watches. That's it. There's one in gold tone and there's one in silver tone. Now, the rose tone gold happens to be, this is a gold plating that's on here. This isn't painted on. It is not some sort of cheap base metal that is in a gold tone, because that will begin to turn color. This is 316L stainless steel with that rose tone gold plating over it. You have a Croco embossed leather strap, which I think looks fantastic on this watch. And one of the things that we're going to do, in fact, I'll do a video on this today. Many of you have seen these deployant clasps that are on here. Now, if you look right here, this actually is in two pieces. And as they come in even closer, I want you to see that all you have to do is unlock it and then flip it back. And when you do, yes, so you can see that, you're going to unlock it, flip it back, and then very, very carefully, while the watch is sitting on a surface, don't try to do this in the air. Set the watch down on something that will not scratch it so you can use both hands. You're then able to feed that deployant with the strap. You're going to find the spot. I'm going to put it on right there. And then you're going to be able to see right there that once it's in place, all you have to do is snap it shut. Now, this may seem like a very simple thing, but I want you to know how to put this on. Once it's on your wrist, go ahead and lock down the side that doesn't have this part on it. Because what you're going to need to do is feed that through there first, then you're going to be able to close it. That way it's already under the keepers. Here's why you don't want to do it the other way. If you lock it and then try to bend this up to force it in there, you're going to stretch these out of shape and you're going to put too much stress on the strap. Can you do it that way? Absolutely, but that's how you wear out your leather belt. It is the motion of your feet that's going to wear out your leather shoes, and it's the motion of this that's going to wear out that leather strap. The whole purpose of having a deployant is that you simply get to feed that under there and then close it. This way, there is very little stress on the strap, and it's going to last for years and years. That's why they use such an expensive mechanism on this limited edition timepiece. I've realized I'm over time on showing you this watch. You want to get to some other great values. This watch is, easily priced out at that $1,000 price because there's only 200 for the entire planet. But here, we've marked it down to $499, and for whatever reason, go try to figure out our bean counters, ones that keep track of the finances here. They already put it at holiday pricing, which is the very lowest price of $349. It's only $70 to get this home. Now, here's the deal. If this is a watch you like, before they sell out, go ahead and order it. Go ahead and put it on your credit card for $70. We'll send it to you.
You ordered yours.
Absolutely, I did, because I saw how quickly these were. I got it in the silver tone. I really like that a lot. I love the contrast between the silver case and the gold that was in the barrels or the beating hearts. We'll pay for shipping. You can get it home. You can examine it. You can see if it's too big, too small, everything we said, or maybe it's not. And I think it's going to be. Then you can decide to keep it, and we'll just continue to charge that until that $349 price is reached. Or you can send it back and we'll pay for it to come home. You shop with confidence with us, and we want you to get the very best. Megan's pick is an exceptional value, and I kind of like mine too. What do you think?
I love it. You know what's funny is we always do this every show. We have such a hard time deciding between the silver and black and the rose tone and black. So we did on the last show put the silver tone and black one on the TV price and payments. That is still available while quantity is available. So if you want to see that, you can go to WorldofWatches.tv. The entire lineup is posted from the last show as well. So we're giving you the opportunity to shop that as well. But it is a hard decision because I say I like the silver tone, but then I see the rose tone on your wrists and I think, oh, well, they're
You
both
helped me
so
decide
gorgeous.
on the silver
I
tone.
know.
You better stick with it. I'm going to just briefly, do you know what this reminds me of?
What?
And just follow me for a moment.
Okay.
You know how Parallel on the wrist, which is a very expensive timepiece, we actually have one in the show later, has motion to it.
Because of the blades?
Yes, and it catches your attention. This watch, when you are perfectly still, catches your attention. And I think it's going to be the people in the room. You better not wear this if you don't want to have a conversation, because people are going to talk to you about this watch. They're going to want to ask you to see it. They're going to want to look at that dial. This is a conversation piece all the way around. Folks, we're going to move on to more stuff. I really want to talk more about this watch because I love the Matador, and I really want to sell more than Megan does. We're not commissioned.
So
we're not.
jealous.
How do we get commission?
so
Can we get? No, I'm slightly competitive. I really am. Oh.
287-827. We are moving on now. We're moving on to the men's size in the Blue Genev. Now, the men's size Blue Genev comes in, well, there are 4 sizes. I don't want to just say some are men's and some are women because the 42 I think is unisex. But the 2 largest sizes are 46 millimeters and 48 millimeters. This item number 287-827 is the 48 millimeter because it's the chronograph. So inside is the ISA 8371. As Nisa was saying to me earlier, this is a new movement, not just with our brand, but one of the newest movements coming out of ISA, the corporation.
5 years in development. I mean, they did not rush to just throw this together. Watchmaking is such an intricate and delicate task. And these companies who not only sell their movements to us, I mean, we can name the brands. Some of the most famous brands in the world are using the exact same movement that's in this watch. Now, we're one of the first ones because we were buying them in volume and able to put them in this brand new Swiss Legend. Now, because it is a Swiss Legend, you do have 2 great things about it. Well, there's a whole lot of great things, but I'll tell you 2. One is you're going to have a 5-year warranty on that movement. The other is the warranty. Now, if it's a Sapphitech crystal, you have a 10-year warranty. If it is a sapphire crystal, then you have certainly the reputation and the durability of sapphire. And here, just as you said, brand new movement. I love the exaggerated piston-style pushers. In the same way, you've got to love this exaggerated crown. And you can see they've done a beautiful high mirror polish on the back of this watch. I think it is absolutely beautiful. You have a watch that you know is all Swiss-made, 316L stainless steel. And because this is the Sapphitech crystal, I know they love when I do this. They're just waiting for one day when you go, oh, I guess we'll have to... No, well, that is true. The control room said, you know, well, you can crack that. Absolutely, whether it is sapphire or whether it is Sapphitech. What gives it its hardness can also give it, if it is dropped just right, can shatter. And you do have to be careful of that. I mean, it's not bulletproof. But it is designed to take those bumps and abrasions. But you do have to be careful. I mean, even with some of the smartphone companies thinking of adding sapphire to their phones, it will make it very, very difficult if you put that phone in your pocket to scratch it. But just like this, if you're wearing this watch, you could easily bump up against something. Now, Megan has lots of diamonds that she wears on any given day, so if I bumped her, you know, I might damage that, because that's the only thing that's going to be harder than Sapphitech or sapphire is diamond. Now, I think this is a large watch. Is this too large?
I don't think so, because you know what's nice about it? I think it looks great. But what's nice about these watches, even though this is the biggest size, the construction, and you'll be able to see when you see it on Wiley's wrist, because of the way the lugs are slightly curved, it wraps around the wrist. So it does follow the shape. Notice that right there. I mean, even from the side profile, this is something new that they did with this design on the case, is they gave it, you know, that geometric, it's actually called a dodecagon. But that design right there, that geometric design, notice how it follows the shape of the wrist, and it really does begin curving on the edges of your wrist. So it's bigger, but it wraps around and fits well.
It sits on the wrist very well, and I have to give them kudos for making the bracelet so comfortable. It's easy on a big watch because of the weight, because it's going to move a little bit, to have a bracelet that might be a hair puller or it might be uncomfortable to wear. That is not true with this at all. And part of it is all of the gold that they used on this watch. I think this is beautiful. And I think it's probably one of the most popular colors right now in gold is rose tone. I mean, even, you know, that big technological company out there just released their products in rose
I
gold.
love that color. I
Do you
want
really?
that color, yeah.
You've got to
That's
get
the last thing I need is a pink phone, right?
It's not pink, it's rose. There's a difference. I'm not wearing
Something
pink.
tells me you have it then.
It's just some of my other items. I want you to know, thank you for laughing, but it's true. This is probably one of the watches that, even though it is in a larger size, that I would wear this. I mean, I tend to stick to the more classic sizes. Oh, by the way, have you seen one of the guys out here that is built like a brick wall? Mm-hmm. We need to bring him in here and show that this watch, he is gigantic.
And he always wears boots and stuff.
Yeah, yes, I mean...
He's so nice, too.
It's
He seems
nice,
very
this guy. I just
intimidating.
walked by him and I said, I don't know what you're eating, but I need to eat that. Which I think it was other people.
eating humans, yeah.
It's true. But this watch would be, I mean, as comfortable this is, we need to go grab him and put him on here.
Oh, God.
He won't fit in the studio, but I mean, it's just, this is a watch that, notice, look how much bracelet there is there.
Yeah, this can accommodate over a 9-inch wrist.
Well, that's just it. This is a, that would go around my ankle. Not that I wear them like that here. But
Because
this,
you have your ankle bracelet.
but
Can't leave the county. All right, we should wrap this one up. We've got more to go to.
it's a watch that's going to fit, you know, all the way to Megan's wrist, to a much larger wrist, and it's going to be very comfortable. So please consider that for your collection. We're delighted to have this brand new selection.
All right, we've got another one. So I was a little torn. I almost made this my pick, but then I saw, of course, the blue dial in the blue Genev, and that's the one I went for. But what's interesting is I actually think this one might be a bigger seller. And the reason behind that is because I believe this watch variation might appeal to more ladies simply because the dial color, that I'm going to call it natural look of mother of pearl, is, there's something about it that maybe would speak to more ladies out there. Now, what you're looking at is that 38mm case. You are looking at this beautiful mother of pearl dial. Here, you can see inside that the movement is actually a multi-function movement. It's a new ISA movement. At the 6 o'clock position, you've actually got a secondary time zone. So I'm going to say that this is a GMT. Look at that when I use that lower pusher there at the 4 o'clock position. This one will actually manipulate that 6 o'clock subdial to give me a secondary time zone. At the 9 o'clock position, you've got a day of the week. And then over here, at the 3 o'clock position, is the calendar date. It's a multifunction. Now, it's once again that beautiful two-tone. And what's nice about a two-tone, whether or not you love wearing all gold or all rose, what I like about this is that you've got the option of having this beautiful, beautiful two-tone where the rose is mirror polished and then the silver tone is all brushed. So it really allows for that gold to shine through. And notice the way it's shining around the bezel as well. It's so exquisite. Now, it's a 38mm case, so it's the smallest size of the blue Genev collection. Notice the way it's wrapping around the wrist. There isn't any gapping or any spacing. It's just a beautiful, easy-to-wear style. I have a 6-inch wrist, just so you know, for size preference. Your bracelet, see right there? Those are solid end links. You have solid end link construction on this bracelet. So this is a high quality, not just watch movement inside, not just the fact that it's 316L stainless steel. This is the kind of watch that has a much stronger life because of the solid end link bracelet and that surgical grade stainless steel. Now this is actually, our graphics were incorrect as I had thought. This is actually the Legacy. This is the other new Swiss-made Swiss legend. The blue Genev, you can tell because it has that dodecagon, more that geometric bezel. This one has that perfect circular shaped bezel. So you can see there's a few little indicators on it around the hour markers, but it's a more traditional design.
If you did just accidentally order the wrong watch, you're still going to love what you ordered.
You'll be just fine because item number 289546, this is the 38 millimeter Legacy collection, a Swiss-made watch. Now, help me out here, Wiley. What does it mean to be a Swiss-made watch? It means, one, you've got to have a Swiss-made movement inside. Number two,
You've got to have at least 60% of the content, quality, and construction of that watch has to be Swiss. Now, some of the most expensive labor in the world is going to be Swiss labor because, I mean, they know what they've got.
Oh,
I mean,
those Swiss.
It's true. I mean, that is why usually if you see that Swiss moniker on there, it is so vividly displayed because of what it means. It is such a stamp of approval. You have to have a Swiss movement on the inside. You have to have 60% of the quality, content, and construction of the watch is Swiss. Then that movement has to be placed inside that watch in Switzerland. Then the final inspection has to be also in Switzerland. Once that is all done, it can have, because listen, you don't want to have something that just is, you know, little bits and pieces of Swiss and then assembled somewhere else that maybe doesn't have the same high quality standards. It has to meet everything that is going to make it Swiss-made, or they don't get that label at all, and this does.
And you know what's interesting, and I've actually seen this on watches before, it has to say Swiss-made at the 6 o'clock position. If you ever see a watch, and I've seen this before, where it'll say on the case back Swiss-made, that's wrong. It has to say it at the 6 o'clock position in order for it to be Swiss-made.
Now, some watches will add it to the back as well as the front, but if you don't see it at the 6 o'clock position, there's something a little questionable there. And you'll also want to look very closely at some watches because they may say something like Swiss movement or some other phrase right at the 6 o'clock that makes you think, is that it? Is that, and it's not Swiss-made. Look very carefully to know what you're getting.
All right, one last look at the Legacy, and I think we're going back to the blue Genev now.
Oh.
Let's see.
Let's see what it looks like.
Yes. Okay, I think this one, it's interesting how this is the 46 millimeter. It's just a hair smaller than the 48. Remember, guys, the 48 millimeter, or gals, if you want the big watch. I love that Niso said some of our executives, even some of our female executives, were wearing the big watches. Remember, we were talking to Carly yesterday, and she had the 42 millimeter blue Genev on. The three-hand in the larger size is the ISA 2331. That's a three-hand Swiss-made movement from ISA. The average battery life is 60 months. So you get a 5
years?
Yeah, that's average from ISA.
Yeah, do not think if your battery runs out in 5 years, because that's when our warranty expires, that, oh, wow, it broke.
No.
They must have timed that.
No. And I mean, listen, sometimes it happens. That's the average. Sometimes it's a little less. Sometimes it's a little bit more. And as Niso has explained before, and as we know, a 5-year warranty is not just on the movement. It also, if anything happens to the water resistance of the watch, the superluminova, the dial, if the bracelet falls apart, you are covered for 5 years with this watch. Plus, then the crystal itself gives a 10-year warranty.
This is the right size for my wrist. Now,
The
48,
46?
I like the 48. It was a very, very bold statement on the wrist. This fits me just a little better.
So you like this size?
I do. I almost question, why do we have, you know, two watches that are so close in size? Well, now I know. But just as people are coming in every size possible, so do these watches. I love the fact that we have just the right fit for you. So don't hesitate to, you know, maybe take a moment, look at the website, take a look and review what we're showing to see if it's the right fit for you. And that's one thing you can do is shop with confidence with us, is if you get it home and it's not right and you want to swap it out, there's no cost to you to do that. We'll pay for the shipping always.
You know what we haven't even mentioned is the fact that these watches, all these blue Genevs, are professional dive capable, meaning they have 200 meters of water resistance. So this
That's
watch that looks
remarkable.
great with your dress shirt, you could actually wear scuba diving.
So
mean,
I was
that's
like,
crazy to
if
me.
I was James Bond
If you
and
were
I
James
had,
Bond
and I
and
had
you
the
took off your
wetsuit,
wetsuit and had the tuxedo underneath,
yes, then this
yeah,
would
you'd
be good.
fine. But that's crazy to think about.
I just lost in the moment there, realizing I'm here at the
No,
desk
Daniel
with
Craig?
you. Well, you are like a Bond girl,
Oh, thank you.
gold Bond.
You're supposed to say
But
that. 287-838, $180 for the Swiss-made Blue Genev. That's the three-hand. I believe the chronograph is about 200. 287-849. Here's one for the ladies. And here I'm going to be able to show you, once again, that customized closure. That's actually where I want to start on this watch. These are the 38 millimeters. These are the smallest sizes currently available in the Swiss-made, Swiss Legend Blue Genev collection.
what stands out to you about this watch? What really caught your attention? You went, I can't believe they did that.
Well, a few things. One, the actual closure. This is why I wanted to start here, because most of the time, and there's nothing wrong with this, I obviously own quite a few of them, silicone strap watches, whether they are our brand or other brands, are usually just a standard buckle. Like I've got a leather strap on right now on my watch. It's a buckle, traditional, easy. Usually when we've got watches like Omega or IWC, really high-end Swiss-made watches that are divers, that's when we see these special buckles. It's amazing that Swiss Legend went with this step. What this is much like you would see on a leather strap or an exotic skin. It's a push-button, dual-deploying clasp. So here's what's going to happen. Here's how the watch is going to come to you. It's going to come to you in about a big piece like this. You can see your closure will be hanging off there. Here's how you size this. And I want to just do this so that everybody understands. It might seem a little complicated, but it's quite easy. Here you can see your closure, and you're wondering, well, how am I supposed to get this in here? I can't make this work. This little piece, as Wiley demonstrated with the leather strap, Lucian Peard, actually comes apart. You just use your fingernail, and you can just very easily, just the little bottom part, it's almost like on a hinge, just opens right up. Then what you're able to do is thread through your strap very easily. It just slides right through because that little, almost like a door or a hinge, loosens and allows the strap to fit right through. Now that little hinge right there does have a little, I was going to call it a stick, but it's, I don't know, I can't think of the word, a little notch that you line up, and then it fits right into the little closure. So you see that once I think I've got it on the size that will fit me, I just very easily close the pieces. Now if this doesn't work, all you have to do is just use your fingernail and it pops right back open. You can slide it open or closed. So once I've got that closed, here's what I do. I close the side with the longer part of the strap, with the tongue hanging out, just like that. Now, this is especially important for people that have leather straps or exotic skins. When you're going to close it, you don't want to bend, let me show it this way first. You don't want to bend your strap to fit into the keeper. In fact, starting it the other way, closing the keeper side first, will allow you to then slide this in without bending it. Silicone, it's not going to be as big of a deal as leather. With the leather, you don't want to bend it because this closure is actually the point. That way, you'll never have to bend the strap. So what you do is you go to close it, and then you just meet it up right into the keeper, and it snaps closed. Now, because this is sized to your wrist, every single time you go to put this on, you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is just slide the watch on and then close the two pieces. It's very, very easy. So that closure part right here, think of it like a little door. It hinges open and closed, and that way, once you've got it on, very, very easy. It's a no-brainer. This is especially important when you have leather or exotic skin straps because it's always going to wear out, the constant pulling. Here, though, even though it's not going to wear out because it's silicone and it's very, very durable, you just want to always make sure you're keeping your watch in the best condition and quality possible. 38 millimeter case once again. You can see I've got a 6-inch wrist, a very average on the slimmer side wrist. This could be worn much, much smaller than mine, and as you saw when I demonstrated, could be worn much larger. In fact, these straps will accommodate nearly a 9-inch wrist. Very, very easy to do. Doesn't take much. Maybe try it out once or twice. It's not going to mess up your nails, your fingers. Very easy. The pieces all work together. But it's important because it's such a high quality piece for the Swiss made watch that we're not just saying, oh, it's a Swiss made watch. Oh, it's Swiss made. You know, it's got a nice Swiss made movement. We're showing you that every inch of this watch, from the customized closure to the two-piece mother of pearl dial to the genuine Swiss Super Luminova, that's the lume that would allow this watch to light up at night. All of the hour markers and the tips of the hands will glow. These are things that make it not just a Swiss-made watch, but one that really allows it to be one of the only watches you need. It's a great gift to give, too. $34 gets it home if you use the payments, which is the way I would go. $287,849. Now, we are going to transition for a moment away from our Swiss-made Swiss legends and go to a brand that we actually on our last show brought out for the first time. And here is a different color variation. On our last show, it was black and red. This time, it's black and orange.
Addy K has been building watches for probably over 2 decades now. They're part of the NWCI watch group. And when the Nizamov brothers wanted to really carry on a tradition of fashion and watchmaking that had been in their family for over 150 years. In fact, their family goes back even their great-grandfather before the Bolshevik Revolution was dealing in the fashion and jewelry industry. Well, they wanted to continue on and create something with very much a Hollywood, a Beverly Hills feel, but they did not want it to be so overpriced that people couldn't afford some of the looks and fashions that they saw on the street that was just becoming so popular in those high-end areas.
They didn't want the Beverly Hills prices.
Well, who does?
I know, I appreciate that.
Now, here's a 52-millimeter case. This is a huge watch, and notice it also has a very similar shape that what we're seeing is very popular right now. What'd you call it? A
dodecagon.
A dodecagon, which means it's got a lot of sides to it.
It's geometric.
It is just one of those watches that the moment you pick up, this is a heavy watch. They've created a beautiful bracelet with that black IP plating. They've created a great shape of the watch, and notice it's three-dimensional within that dial. You have that outer chapter ring inside the dial that's almost three-dimensional, almost looks like a racetrack going around there. You have a three-hand configuration. The hour, the minute, and a continuously operating sweep hand is a small seconds at the 2 o'clock position. You have a minute totaler over here at the 10 o'clock, as well as a sweep hand waiting for you to start that chronograph with simply a push of the pusher at the 2 o'clock. There's your start, there's your stop, and of course your reset. Now this is a Swiss parts movement. Now you're going to hear this over and over again with something might be a Swiss movement, which means that movement is entirely Swiss made. A Swiss parts movement means that the most critical parts, the most delicate parts, are of Swiss origin, but there can be a multiplicity of places that the rest of the parts in the assembly can be. Now, it's an exceptionally high standard watch because you're going to have that quartz movement that's going to be accurate and reliable to within 10 to 15 seconds per month, like every quartz movement out there. And the only one that's going to exceed that is going to be the Precisionist or the ultra-high frequency from Bulova. Here you're going to have that same reliability, but you also have the comfort of knowing that you have Swiss parts within the watch. You also have a larger expanded date window at the 6 o'clock position that easily allows you to see the date. You're also going to appreciate the fact that you have that uni-rotating bezel on there. You can't rotate it back in the other direction. It has a good sound click to it. And you can also see the back of the watch is textured and has the Addy K logo right there on the back. You can come even closer and see. It's a screw-down back, which is going to help add to the 100 meters of water resistance, because this screws down, and because of the construction of the case, you can take that down 100 meters. Now, it's not going to meet the qualifications of a professional dive instrument. You'd need 200 meters, but it certainly is probably for the recreational diver, that person that loves going out surfing. If you're out there swimming a lot, or you're in the water, or you're just in a job that's going to allow you to get a little moister than the average individual, you're not going to have a problem with this watch at all. Comfortable all the way around. Now you have a dual push button, single scissor deployment on here, which is going to be easy to operate, but you also have a diver's clasp on here, which locks into place, and that's going to make that a bit more secure. If you're ever afraid of knocking a watch open and possibly it slipping off your wrist, having that diver's lock on there is just going to give you a little bit more security that the watch is going to stay put. It really looks great. And look at the price point. Swiss parts movement, You know, all this watch history from Addy K, the black IP plating, and it's under $65? Okay, you're not going to find very many places that are going to allow you to get a watch of this quality. Easily, you know, I'm going to say $100 to $200 timepiece. Our WOW price is a little low at $99. The $575 price, their list price, is a little high. I think it is. I mean, without having a Swiss movement, without having sapphire crystal, that's going to be a high price point. That's a suggestion they're making. We don't put that up there. They do. We make up our own prices on other stuff sometimes with our graphics. But today we've got it just right at $64.99 because that is the total price. And look at this. $13 gets it home.
That's amazing. That's with free shipping. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you never pay for shipping and you don't pay for returns either. So it's just $13 to get this watch. Of course, state tax applies where applicable, and that has nothing to do with us. But after that first payment, wherever you live, and depending on the tax that you pay, after that, if you use the stress-free payments, it's just $13 a month for this watch, and you're owning it after your first payment.
It's 52 millimeters. Is that too large? Would you say that? I know that you don't like greatly oversized timepieces. You know, the ridiculously large Flava Flav kind of thing. What do you think?
No,
about?
just when I wear a clock around my neck.
But I want you to just pause and look at that for a second. Yes or no?
I think it looks good.
It's
all about the comfort, though. But what's nice is we go back to the talk about construction. Because it's curved and you've got the solid end length bracelet, it's easier to wear, so try it out. If anything, if you're watching the show right now and you're like, Wiley, maybe not sure if it's gonna feel right, if it's gonna fit well, put $13 down on any major credit card. You've got a 6 3/4 wrist, so just under a 7-inch wrist. So you guys out there can know if you've got at least that, there's no gapping, there's no spacing.
I have to tell you, it's very comfortable. Whatever they've done with the back of the watch, particularly, I think, you notice sometimes what will make a watch larger is the lugs at the top and bottom will extend away from the case. And when that happens, the watch can sometimes rock a little bit if you have a thinner wrist. Or if you have a larger wrist, it can start to push in too soon. No, the question is asked, is this a hair puller? Is this one of those that's going to hurt if I wear it? On a scale of 1 to 10, there was just a slight tug right there. So I'm going to say no, but I'm not going to shave my wrist. All right, I think this looks great. And at 52 millimeters, it is a big watch, but go ahead and here's the risk you're going to take. You're going to put $13 down that we'll give back to you if you return it, and we're going to pay for shipping for it to come to you and to come back if you don't like it. I think you are. I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised that at a price point you might pay for one of those watches sitting at one of the big box stores as you're walking out and you're buying gum and mints, and then there's a watch sitting there. And, you know, did I forget something? Oh, I need a disposable watch. This is not a disposable watch. This is a really nice timepiece that I feel very good about. When you get it home, you're going to be as equally as pleased as we are.
All right, we're going to do a couple quick mentions before we wrap this hour. Just want to give you guys an idea of what else we've got in store for you. Here's another blue Genev. Now, this is going to be in that full-size 48 millimeter with the ISA 8371. That's a brand new movement, not just a Swiss Legend, but to ISA in general. You've got a brand new movement here. 5-year warranty on that, silver tone dial, black ceramic bezel insert, and then the silver tone for the case and bracelet. Perhaps one of the best, this is the one that you said yesterday would be one of the best variations for executives to wear all day, every day. It had a very clean look to it.
It is very clean, very sophisticated. There's something just very organized about that white dial. And, you know, there's two classic colors are going to be, of course, black and white. The blue is very much a bold, and that's a get noticed watch because that's a bright, vibrant blue. This to me is a watch that even our beauty shots just are not doing this watch justice. There is such a high-end feel. I want to say the manufacturer is so bad because it looks like their looks. But this really is one that you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. And again, it's a $39 risk. If you can risk $39 being put on your credit card, and remember, we'll give it back to you. So if you're willing to go 30 or 60 days, then trust us, this is a fantastic timepiece. And I love the fact, just the details like the oversized pusher and crown. Just nice.
Item number 287825. We do have more. How about a 3-hand? How about this one right here? Item number 287839. Now this one, another blue Genev. These are all Swiss-made watches, once again. This one here gives you the two-tone of the silver tone and black, the silver tone and rose, pardon me, with the black dial. This is the 46 millimeter case, so it's a step down from the 48 millimeter. It's got the ISA 2331 quartz movement inside, $180. So it's just a little bit cheaper, about $15 less to get the three-hand, and it's in a smaller size. You like the 46, I know, over the 48.
I like this. What is the benefit of the two-tone over, say, just a traditional gold or silver?
I think more versatility, especially if you wear other jewelry colors. Item number 287839, $36 gets it home. And something for the ladies, 38 millimeter blue Genev right here, 287848. What I love is that, and this we talked about this in the last show, is that they combine this rose and gray. It's very, very different. In fact, the mother of pearl dial almost has a blue steel color to it with that rose tone, black ceramic bezel insert, putty gray silicone strap. These are 38 millimeters, ladies. These are so, so comfortable. Wear it to the gym, wear it to the beach, but they're nice enough. I last show had it on with a sweater top. It looked beautiful. 287848 is the item number here. 5 payments of $34. I love that we have Swiss-made watches, and we're not even breaking $200. 287848.
I think we're resetting a standard in the watch world that people realize that all the quality construction, the Swiss-made, does not have to mean arm and a leg.
No,
it
of course
really
not.
can be had. And there's no apologies to it. It's not like, oh, I got one of those. No, I think you're going to want to show it off. Both of our picks today, I would put these side by side. In fact, I'm going to, with some very high-end watches. I've got some friends that have just stupidly expensive watches. I will not be embarrassed with this watch on my wrist at all.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And as we saw even with the Swiss-made watches, first of all, for those of you who don't know, and this was something I learned, you know, you think about, I thought in Switzerland, like, okay, all these watch brands that must have like their own
A little shop,
factories,
little cobbler
right?
somewhere. Just,
yeah, and they're
you know.
all individual. As it turns out, in Switzerland, in the area where these watches are designed and built, there's only about a handful of factories, 5 or 6 factories, where all of your favorite Swiss-made watches are assembled. So a lot of your favorite brands are actually built in the same warehouses, in the same factories, which I thought was really interesting because you think, oh, well, Omega must be here, and then it must be Breitling right next door, and it must be Hublot here. Where would Swiss Legend be? They're all in same factory. So it's very cool that you don't feel like you're getting anything less, especially when we break out the components of these watches, which of course we will. You'll find that a lot of the materials, save for some of the in-house movements, like, of course, we're not knocking, of course, Breitling or Hublot, Omega, that have their own in-house movements that they design, they build, they spend years on. Of course, those cost thousands and thousands of dollars. But as we're showing you with the Swiss-made Swiss Legend, ISA. Think about how many Swiss-made watch brands use ISA as Maurice Lacroix, Luminox. These are brands that use ISA and ETA movements and Ronda, just like we use them here. So it's very cool because it used to be, oh, well, you know, we have Swiss movements, but they're not Swiss-made.
Well, it's
What
not like
now?
It's not like they're
What
picking
now?
up an ISA movement and going, oh, that's a really good one. Give that to Luminox. Oh, that one, Swiss Legend. I mean, it's all in the same little hopper.
They're just like shaking it and closing their eyes and just pulling.
Swiss Legend.
We're not very
Luminox.
technical. Thank God we're going to be showing you guys some videos in the coming weeks on the shows that are very technical. But what we can show you first, like this transition,
Yes, you're doing a great job.
is our preview. Here we go. We really need to hire somebody to do the drums. Okay, Legacy. This is the men's 46 millimeter. This features that new ISA 8371 movement inside. $195. The Legacy is sportier. I think the blue Genev can be dressed up or dressed down. To me, the Legacy seems very sporty. I also love, and you can kind of see it here, just how geometric and 3D the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions are. They almost appear to be pressed up underneath that Sapphitech crystal. 5 payments of $39, $289,542.
Blue Genev, Blue Genev. Choose.
I guess it's probably Genev, right?
I don't know. I need. If you happen to be Swiss and you know the correct pronunciation, we're
Please
just.
don't be offended. 285-612, the Deep Diver 1500 series. Here we've got a Swiss-made watch from Luminox with a Swiss-made ETA automatic movement inside. Here you've got 500 meters of water resistance. You've got a watch in a modified tonneau-shaped case that, while technically measures at about 45 millimeters, wears closer to a 46. It's massive. It's got its own automatic helium escape valve. I love when dive watches use blue as one of the colors. So here, with that soft baby blue, I like that for the hour markers.
Well, the crown protector on there also acts as a lock to that rotating bezel. When you rotate it, only when that crown protector is lifted can you move it. And when it's locked into place, you are assured it will not move. Most watch companies will use a uni-rotating bezel, and that becomes enough of a safety feature. Not good enough for Luminox. They wanted to make sure on the deep dive that when you set it, you can forget it, because it is locked into place. That was Ron Popeil. Remember? You don't remember.
No, I don't.
The older audience knows.
285-612, 5 payments of $180.
That's a price protected, that's a $2,000 watch. How do we do that?
I don't know. Magic. Here, we're moving on to my pick. Speaking of magic.
Which is a blue?
Genev. Blue Genev. 287-834. You're putting me on the spot. You're making me nervous. Well, I guess I would assume like Geneva.
I know. I was playing it over and over again. I'm going to look it up.
287-834. Just ask Siri. Here we've got my hot pick, the all-new Swiss-made Swiss Legend. This one features that all-new ISA 8371 movement, as Niso Barocas, who was on the show just over an hour ago, was explaining. ISA, the movement manufacturer, spent 5 years perfecting this movement. Swiss Legend is one of the first companies, the first brands, to employ this all-new movement inside. You can see here, inside this beautiful, beautiful watch, you've got a gorgeous mother of pearl dial done in a royal blue to match the royal blue of the ceramic bezel insert. The outer edge of the bezel, which is done in that dodecagon, you can see that unique geometric shape to the bezel and even the beveled edges of the case. It gives it almost a nautical inspired design, which is perfect because it's also got 200 meters of water resistance. I want to show you a side profile so you can see here how it plays on my 6-inch wrist. Notice when it's sized down, no gapping, no spacing. It's a great mid-range size to wear. Being that I am somebody that prefers watches that are a bit more oversized, but not too big and bulky, 38 millimeters, ladies, this is right on the nose. I love the contrast of the silver tone and the rose. What's interesting, most of the time, and we saw this even with the Legacy, most of the time the rose or the gold tone on a two-tone watch will be mirror polished and the silver tone will be brushed. That allows for the gold to pop. But what's nice here is that the rose tone is brushed and the silver tone is mirror polished. So it gives you almost that opposite look. Here it is at a closer shot. Isn't that gorgeous? $190, 5 payments of $38. You get a 5-year warranty on the movement. You get a 10-year warranty against scratching that Sapphitech crystal. 287-834, $190 or your first payment of $38.
Hold on. Hey Siri, is it Genev or Genev?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on.
That's how Siri's going to answer.
You think so?
I'm sorry. Can you ask another question? Yeah, my Siri can't get me out of a paper bag.
Hey Siri, is it Genev or Genev?
It doesn't matter, Wiley. Megan will still get it wrong.
Oh, that's sad. Oh, well, we tried. All right, well.
Siri and I are going to have words later.
Anyway. If Siri said it, you can't blame me. Let's...
You're terrible.
I really am. Lucian Peard, the Matador automatic. This is just one of those watches that the moment you see it, it pulls and holds your attention and you know you've got something special. And you'd be absolutely right. It is a limited edition piece of only 200 watches. That's it. That's for the entire planet. You won't find that anywhere else. It is one of those watches that once they're sold, we will not be doing more. It's not like, oh, there's 200 today, and then tomorrow there'll be two. No, this is it. 200 for the planet. Now, coincidentally, there happens to be 200 parts inside this watch, because this beautiful automatic movement inside, which happens to be a 42 joule automatic with 44 hours power reserve, well, that's the 2HR851 automatic movement. Never need a battery. Simple motion of your wrist is going to power the watch. How do you know the watch is running? Well, every time you look at the time, you're going to see, one, those two beautiful dual beating hearts. You're also known as dual barrels. You're going to have this retrograde power reserve. Notice the watch has been running for hours, and it's still powered at its highest level. You have an hour, minute, and a continuously operating sweep hand, but you'll notice there is also a secondary time zone. This is a GMT. You can use it as either one, a 24-hour indicator, or a secondary time zone. And that's really, really cool. I'm planning on doing traveling next year.
Oh, is that right?
Well,
excuse me.
I'm going to Disney.
Do we?
Epcot counts as a world tour, doesn't it?
On your day off.
So many funny things to say about that. I want you to just see right there that this, yes, I'm going to do some traveling, and I may actually cross a time zone or two. And the fact that I can set this and have a dual time is pretty cool. Now, this is, to me, one of the nicest pieces that we have done. And the fact that it is so limited, yes, it is a thick watch. Do not let this throw you. It is part of the visual presence of the watch, and you should not think for a moment, oh, that watch is too thick. Now, I heard somebody make a comment. Jenny, do you know if we have that other beautiful watch that David said was, and Niso also said was such a great seller? It's slightly skeletonized, because there's a beautiful watch that's going to be coming up shortly that when you see it, you're going to be blown away, because it is such a gorgeous timepiece. But it's not as thick as this. It also has an open heart configuration, and it has multiple other textures within that dial that also pull the eyeball in. You're going to love how this looks. Only $70 gets this $349.99 timepiece home. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, let me stress this to you. There's 200 of the gold and 200 of the silver tone. That's it. And there will be no more. You're going to love, I mean, there's even the beautiful Lucian Peard logo.
Look how they put the date there. Excuse me for interrupting. They've never done that before.
The 1923?
Yeah, on the crown like
I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at that,
Nice
how
detail.
gorgeous that is.
Yeah.
Speaking of detail, you're getting so much within this watch. And we'll take one more ultra close-up. People were asking about more close-ups. And yes, we have heard you. Recently we've
Well,
done
when you're screaming at us, we hear you.
That's usually from in the building. But we did a survey not too long ago, and we're listening to what you guys are saying. Please know that. Everything from, we're going to try to give you more technical detail to having just endless Megan Harris on the show.
Yes, thank you everyone who filled out the survey. I actually posted all of your comments to my bedroom walls, and I'm very, very happy about it.
Wait, that's actually true. Not that I've seen the better.
Well, I'm a
Let's just move.
narcissist. I need it.
And we want to improve by everything from trying to add high definition to going to our new sets and stuff. By the way, do people know that?
We're going to be moving soon.
Yeah, we're going to be moving. We've got a whole new set coming. Well, oh, no, I'm sorry. They said don't talk about that.
I want to get like a big green screen so it looks like sometimes we're like in the jungle. We're like on a roller coaster.
What jungle watch are you going to be selling?
I just think it'd be so fun. We'll be like in outer space.
It's going to be like all girly stuff.
It'll be like gravity, and I just like slowly push him away.
I miss you. I know, too. So go ahead and take a peek at the website or continue watching us, or just go ahead and order, because we think you're going to like both of them. What's coming up next? What do we have? Because we're almost not
like, remember you're working right now, children?
Oh, hi. Hello. Folks, we love both of our hot picks today, and we think you will too. So go ahead and take a peek at the website or continue watching us, or just go ahead and order, because we think you're going to like both of them. What's coming up next? What do we have? Because we're almost, not quite, at the halfway point. We're getting close.
All right, I think we're going to go to something else. Something tells me it's going to be Swiss made. This is great. We're going to be transitioning now to the Legacy. I like how they spelled it legacy too. Mm-hmm. Once again, you're going to get a watch with a lot of water resistance. Another watch that's going to be that dive capable. The reason that we can't say professional diver is because a professional dive watch would have 200 meters of water resistance and a unidirectional rotating bezel. But when a watch has at least 200 meters of water resistance, but no bezel, that unidirection that rotates, it's professional dive capable. So we just want to be as technical as possible. But one of the things that I like so much, and you can see it in that video shot, but really when we get a close-up actual shot, you'll see it even more so. The dial work, those Arabic numerals, those 4 Arabic numerals on there are so dramatic. It's really cool.
You know what I noticed when I picked up the watch? I thought it was going to be a super heavy watch. Now, even though it is solid links, they have done something just in the construction. They have not made the watch overbearing. Sometimes when you have a 200-meter watch that could be used for diving, and you have this much stainless steel, it ends up being very, very heavy. This is a watch that has a lot of visual presence, but is not going to fatigue you by wearing it. I have a couple of watches. One of them, I think it's a Renato, and it's from the T-Rex collection. Well, that watch is huge.
The Renato watches, the T-Rex is gigantic.
And it's a heavy,
Yes,
beautiful
it is.
watch. It's like if I'm going out and you want to kind of show off a little bit of your watch, that's a watch to wear, but you realize every moment you're wearing
It can be heavy, absolutely.
And that's not an insult to the watch.
No, of course not.
It's just, you know, being honest. This is a watch you're going to forget that you're wearing because it is not super heavy. I mean, it's a solid construction watch. I mean, you set it down a minute ago. We actually, it's a heavy case, and even though it's a solid bracelet, they did not make it overly thick. Now, think about the Bulova Precisionist Champlain. That's an uber thick bracelet.
Oh, yes. That watch is over 220 grams.
Pounds. And this particular bracelet is appropriately thick, but not so much so that it's fatiguing. And I think you're going to appreciate that. In fact, when I slip this on, you're going to see how well this watch fits. I'm going to slip that right on. Now, Megan is absolutely correct. There are pedestals within the dial. Oh, why don't you come in closer? I mean, I hate, we will show it from afar, but I wanted to show them. You see the pedestals that they're on? The 12, 3, 6, and 9? It's like they've raised them up so that they're closer to the crystal. That's what I think is so dramatic. I mean, you are dead on with this. You have all that stippling, all that texturing in the very center. Then you step out to the smoothness of the subdials. And then on their own pedestal, closer to the eye, is the 12, 3, 6, and 9.
It's cool how it's contrasted with the stick hour markers
Which are
being
recessed.
almost sunken lower into that dial ring. And then those Arabic numerals, they look like they're almost pressed up against the crystal. It's cool.
And they're not. There's just an appropriate amount of space there. And I want you to see from the reflection, there it is, the high mirror polish. This is not plasticky at all.
No.
Because if it sits flat, it just kind of looks like flat metal. It's only when the light catches it just right you realize a high mirror polish. So let me show this to you from a distance and you tell me what you think. What do you think about that?
I like it. You know what I like about this? It's a great straightforward watch. It's a 46 millimeter case, so it's bigger. But what's nice about it is it's sporty, it's easy. It's going to be one of those watches that you'll find yourself reaching for, I think, over and over again because it looks nice with a dress shirt, but it's also casual and practical enough to be with just a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. So it's one of those great watches that even if it was non-Swiss made, it would still be a great sort of almost that daily wear watch. But the fact that it's a Swiss made watch means that it's not just a knock-around watch because all the components, all the value, the certifications that it had to go through, just to be able to say at that 6 o'clock position that it's Swiss made makes this so much more and worth so much more than even the $200 you're paying for it.
Okay, look at the lugs in the north and south position on this watch. Notice they perfectly mimic the shape of a wrist.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, right as the wrist starts to move, and if you have a larger wrist, it's still going to accommodate. And if you probably have, just probably to 6.5, 6.25 inch wrist, still going to accommodate it. What I love, and I hope that you can see it at home, is that the dial, this watch is very, very safe in the fact that it is not outlandish. So if you have a watch person out there and you're going, I wonder if they'd like this, absolutely. But there is something very unique about the cutaway hands You notice, come to that beauty shot. That was a good shot. Either that or a super close-up. Because you can see that the hands are in a cutaway. They're not solid. You see through them. And they also mimic the stick markers. Watch as we draw them even closer on this beauty shot, and you're going to be able to see that the stick markers at the hour indices, as well as the hands of the watch, mimic each other, and it's a beautiful complement all the way around. Swiss-made watch, $194.99. Only $39 gets the watch home. You have 200 meters of water resistance, 316L stainless steel, and more warranty than you're going to know what to do with. First 5 years on the movement and 10 years on the crystal. 289542. Don't let this one get away. I believe it's going to be a very popular watch in your house.
All right, now yesterday on the show, I actually made the Legacy my hot pick, and this exact variation, just with a different color. And the reason for that is because while the Legacy does come in a few different flavors, much like the Blue Genev does, diamonds are included on the Legacy multifunction for the ladies when you get it on the silicone straps. Isn't that nice?
Don't you
Ladies,
believe that should be on everything? Diamonds are included.
diamonds are included? Absolutely. But what I love
like
even
batteries
more
included.
is that ladies, we get diamonds on the sportiest style, which is interesting to me that they did that. It kind of shows that sort of playful nature, that sort of sport luxury that Niso was talking about. Because here, this watch is very sporty. It's on a silicone strap. It doesn't have the mother of pearl dial that, oh, excuse me, this one does have the mother of pearl. It's on the silicone strap, though. It doesn't have all of the crazy designs or even the geometric shape that the Blue Genev has. It's, in a lot of ways, a sportier style overall. And it's the only one, the only variation on silicone that actually gets diamonds. You get 10 points of diamonds, so it's just a little bit of sparkle. What's cool about that is, notice all the sparkle around the bezel, right? You have little diamond accents inside that bezel. But the bezel itself is done in an illusion setting. I have an illusion setting on my wrist, my ring. This is a vintage, this is an old ring that I have. I was given it as a gift. And you can see that there's little diamonds in there, but it's set in a way that makes it look like even more bling. That's what they do here. It's little diamond accents, but the stainless steel has been done to where you actually almost look like it's a total diamond encrusted bezel. My gosh, is this not the most beautiful, vibrant color? You know, it's interesting. Most of the time when you see royal blue and rose tone, it's reserved for the super high-end watches. We see Breitling does a color combination very similar. Rolex. I love this color. It has a very rich feel to it. All that rose tone on your 38 millimeter case. Then the diamonds around the bezel. And then that exquisite mother of pearl dial. Notice how perfectly it matches the soft touch silicone strap. Much like my hot pick from today, the Blue Genev, you've got that special closure. So again, what you'll do to size this to your wrist is you actually, this portion of the closure, I'll turn it this way so you can see, comes in two pieces. It's almost like a little hinge. So you just pull them apart. It's very, very easy to do. You take it apart. And then you'll just slide this on, slides right up until it gets to a hole that you think matches. You just push it in, and then that's how you close it. One side, and then the next. And that's how it would be on your wrist. This is a very, very high quality closure. Think about all of the Swiss Legends, or the Red Lines, or the any other watch, not just our COB, so Michael Kors, any brand you're thinking about that has a silicone or a rubber strap. How many of them are buckles? This is a push-button dual deployant clasp. Swiss-made, 200 meters of water resistance. Nice and slim too. Look how slim it is overall, which is great because traditionally watches that would have that much water resistance would be a little bit thicker. They'd need a thicker case back to protect the Swiss-made movement inside. And the movement in here is that ISA multifunction movement. We have a couple of new movements that we're using here. The ISA 8371, which we saw in some of the Blue Genevs. But the multifunction, which is also an ISA movement, which is what I've got here, that 6 o'clock position, that 6 o'clock subdial, is actually a 24-hour chaptering, so it's a GMT. You would use your lower pusher. We'll get a closer shot so you can see that. you actually have a secondary time zone at the 6 o'clock position, which is awesome. I happen to think that, I mean, I don't use a chronograph, you know, like in my daily life. I don't really need to time things. So I like the idea of a multifunction. Using the top pusher here, I can access, keep an eye on that 3 o'clock subdial. I'm changing the date. We'll show you that now. We'll come in a little bit closer. I'm advancing the date. See, just using that 2 o'clock pusher for that subdial. Now, you pull the crown to set your day of the week. Just pull it one click, just like you would pull for a traditional date. But look here at the 6 o'clock position. That 24-hour ring, I'm going to use my 4 o'clock pusher, and I'm going to set that. Now, I could do two things. I could set this for the AM, PM, the military indication, you know, a 24-hour ring for the currently displayed hours, which is what I did here. I put the little hand at the 22 because this is 10, so I'm signifying that that's 10 p.m. But I could also have this for a completely different time zone. So here I'm offsetting it for 6 o'clock in the morning. It can be whatever you want. You can use it as an AM, PM indicator or as a GMT. I like the idea of a GMT. One of my best friends, I know I always talk about my girlfriend that lives in Israel, but one of my other very close friends lives on the West Coast. And it's so funny, it's so hard for us sometimes to sync up, you know, talking on the phone or getting together, because I'll call her at night and she's like, I'm at work, you can't call me now, it's only 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's funny how I actually need something like this. I think a GMT would be great for me because I could set that and know, okay, can I call Becky now or I have to wait? Most of the time we like never get to talk because I go to sleep so early.
And we're so used to taking out our phones to look at the time. But it generally does not have multiple times from around the world at a glance. And if you do have somebody, whether it is a kid off in college, or you have friends from around the world, it instantly allows you to see, this is a good time to call. And it might just help you to keep in contact a little bit better.
It's never a good time to always be calling your kid in college.
I always call my kid in college. I've been texting him while you're talking.
You just know that his son has like his own unique ringtone for his dad. It goes off and it's like, oh, that's just my dad calling. I picture it to be like the police sirens. He doesn't like it.
I think that's funny.
All right, perhaps we should move on before things get really uncomfortable.
You know, it was the coolest thing because, you know, he was watching the show and suddenly he realized it was, you know, we're live right there.
Yeah,
he forgets. And we started talking to him, if you remember.
I remember.
His friends thought that was the coolest thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's really not that cool.
No, not really. Okay, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this.
Oh, here we go. I know.
Jenny.
The director's like bracing himself.
The lovely and talented Jenny, who is our watch Vanna White.
I know, and occasionally she plays my wrist.
Yes.
I saw that when I was solo. I was like, my God, did I get 10 or what?
Looks good, doesn't she?
Real good.
She walked over with this watch, and just from the way she was holding it, it had, I mean, look at it. It looked very Breitling to me.
It does because of that bracelet.
Please understand, the construction of the Breitling bracelet and the Ben & Sons bracelet is entirely different, but I have to tell you, the look caught my eye. As we come in close, I want you to take a look at a beautiful watch from Ben & Sons, one of Megan's favorite brands, because there's just a very adventurable spirit about this.
And
now,
I have the adventurable spirit.
I think I made that up. Adventurable? Look that up. Don't. I don't want to hear what Siri has to say. The Voyager stainless steel kind of just takes it up market a little bit. Usually you would see a leather strap with the watch. Now the watch is going to wear like a 46 millimeter because the shape of the case, it's kind of difficult to get the most accurate measurement, but we can tell you what it wears like. It's 46. Now the Biota 2035 movement in there is going to be reliable and accurate. You're going to really feel very, very good about that movement being in this watch. The Ben & Sons name engraved on the side. I love the fact that that's been put on there. It's not just, you know, poured into a mold and stamped out that way. It's a very finished product. You're also going to appreciate the fact that even though they could have used, you know, the traditional hour markers on here, they've used the seconds indices in place of the hour markers. And it just adds, I don't know, this to me feels like a 1960s NASA watch.
Yeah, it's very tactical.
Well, there's just something about it that reminds me, I guess, I saw the movie The Martian the other day.
Oh, I want to see that.
You'll really like it.
Yeah.
He dies in the end.
No, don't
but
do that.
I'm sorry, was I supposed to stop? Don't take that. If you haven't seen the movie, that was, I'm just, I'll explain the potatoes after the show.
Okay, no, all right.
I'm sorry. just bear with us for a second.
Thank God he doesn't watch Game of Thrones.
Everybody
He would be the
dies on that
worst.
show.
Everybody does.
Everybody dies on that show. What I like about this watch is it has a vintage. Growing up here in Florida, we've seen every space launch since there's ever been, and looking into this watch, it feels very vintage, as if this is something the astronauts would have worn in the 60s or 70s. It just has a feel to it that I really, really like. So, and I think, do you like this one?
I do, very much. You know what's nice is this is the second watch our company brands have done. The Lucian Peard was the Fidelity, that was the first, to use the stainless steel mesh bracelet. And what's nice is you get this high quality, dressier look because of the stainless steel mesh. But notice it almost gives you that flexibility of wearing a rubber or silicone strap because it just totally molds to your wrist.
Do you know what the problem of being on the show is?
How much time do you have?
I was watching The Martian, and Matt Damon looked at his wrist, and I just blurted out in the movie theater, Hamilton, because it was the Hamilton,
Really?
it was the Hamilton watch.
That's
It was just that, we automatically do that now.
I do that
help
all
it.
the time.
Voyager stainless steel on mesh bracelet is one of the best values of the program because you're getting an awful lot of watch at very little money. $69.99, only $14 gets this watch home. That's amazing. 287-683 will get you the Ben & Sons Voyager, a great vintage style watch that we think you're going to love. In fact, we'll guarantee it, or we'll give you every penny back.
All right, well, we have made it to the halfway point of our time together. We love this part. We get to do a top 10. This is fun because we have no idea what the best-selling items of the show are so far. It's great for you guys out there to see where your picks rank amongst everyone else's. And it's just kind of fun to see where the show's going because we still have another hour and a half to go. So things always change from the top 10 to the recap. But if last show is any indication of what this show will be like, I know we're going to see a lot of those Swiss-made Swiss legends. So let's see what number 10 is.
Some of the best we've ever done has been with these new collections.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the fact that they love, oh, look!
I think it's because we're giving people what they want, which is that affordable luxury. And it really is luxury because it's Swiss-made.
Oh, there is no doubt about it. The construction of these watches are incredible. And look.
This is the Blue Genev. This is the 48-millimeter case, 287-827. You've got the new ISA 8371 movement inside in a Swiss-made watch. You've got the dodecagon-shaped bezel, which features a ceramic bezel insert, rose tone for your case, your bracelet, even your two-piece pushers and oversized screw-down crown. Believe it or not, all of this with 200 meters of water resistance. How easy is this? $40 down, we ship it to you for free. 287-827, that's number 10 in the black and rose. Remember, the full size with the chronograph is the one that comes in the 48-millimeter.
Number 9. You know what?
We haven't even aired this yet.
No, but ever since, I think it was Bobby. I texted him.
Our viewer, yes.
Bobby, we love you. When Bobby saw the Ingersolls, I actually sent a snapshot from here in the studio. I'm not supposed to do that. Of the watches. I can't help it. And he was like, you've got to, I know that, but he said, you've got to put that on the show. And immediately we did, and look at how well this has done. And we have not even aired it, and it's in the top 10. $520, you're going to pay that retail. $246 is what it's going to go up to after all of our programs aired. But you can get it right now while we are on the air for $156.99. That is an awful lot of style for a company that has such an American heritage to it. And the Ingersoll brothers will greatly thank you. $31.40 is all it takes to get it home. 281-782. And apparently you already are. What a nice timepiece.
Coming in at number 8, an all-new Lucian Peard. This is the Navona chronograph, 287-711. The best thing about this is how different the chronograph actually is inside this timepiece. Now, it's a 44.5-millimeter case. The 2-eye chronograph, it's a Japanese chronograph quartz movement. What they've actually done is instead of a traditional hand, which you can see obviously coming out of the center of the watch for your hours, minutes, and seconds, it's actually 2 rotating discs. And the little notch done as the red arrow signifies the different features on it or what it's indicating. The 3 o'clock subdial is a 24-hour AM/PM. The 6 o'clock subdial, the 9 o'clock subdial, got a little tongue-tied there. The 9 o'clock subdial is your 60-minute short time totalizer for your chronograph, which is actually in action right now. $130, or your first payment of $26 gets you home. 287-711. Rose tone for the case, light silver tone for the dial, black for the strap. 287-711. Coming in at number 6. I love this watch. I intend to own at least one of these watches. The Blue Genev in the 38mm. I love this one. Of all of them that we've seen in sporty style, I like this one on the black silicone. Black silicone with the rose tone case and lug area. Then what you've got is the black ceramic bezel insert, nice and scratch resistant. You've also got there the 2-piece dial. The outer edge is white mother of pearl. 200 meters of water resistance, genuine Swiss Super Luminova, 5 payments of $34. 287-849, that's number 6.
Coming up right behind that,
This was our number 7 item. We did this, the Novona already. Yeah, we already did this one, so we're going to go up to, we're going to just jump ahead. We just wanted you guys to see the Novona one more time. We're going to jump ahead after this one to
I love
number
that watch.
5. Here we go, number 5, the Legacy. Right here, 46mm Swiss Legend Legacy, ISA 8371, quartz chronograph movement inside. You can see this is the one that had what appeared to be those Arabic numerals on a pedestal, we were saying, at 12.
Beautiful watch. It is understated in some of its construction that just really makes it very conservative. But when you look into the dial and you see everything from the cutaway hands that mimic the hour indices, exactly what you said, the Arabic numerals at 12, 3, 6, and 9 on their own pedestals, realizing you're getting a full chronograph with this watch. Absolutely beautiful, and at this price point of only $194.99 for an all Swiss-made watch is incredible. $39 gets it home. And remember, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You always have free shipping with us, and it is a great gift idea. If you're one of those people that you're not sure if that other person is going to like the watch, this is a safe bet. Not because it is boring, but because it has all the right elements that someone's going to go, wow, that's really nice. Now, this is 289542, and I think it is a great choice. Now, this is also one of those watches that is solid in its construction, but you're going to notice it is lighter than you're going to think it's going to be. That's because the bracelet is the appropriate thickness. As we stated earlier, there's some of the watches that have just a little too much thickness to them, and maybe they're a little heavier. This is not the case. This is a great watch to wear that's going to be very, very comfortable. And right behind that,
Coming in at number 4.
oh, it is the Swiss Legend Blue Genev, or Genev. I'm going to look it up, I promise. The chronograph on this is one that I think is just, it's subtle. You notice that the 3-eye chronograph on this is not as, they did not stylize it in such a way that it jumps out as a chronograph. It almost looks like just a 3-hand configuration. Then you realize, because of how that it blends in, but it's easy to read, that they have done a great job with this watch. And
This is the full-size 48mm.
big watch, but it's going to be one of those ones that, because it does not have any design elements outside of the larger crown, that's going to make you just go, oh my gosh, you are wearing a piece of contemporary art on your wrist. What have you done? And we know those brands. We know there's some watches that are just too big. This is one that's going to be comfortable on the wrist, and the fact that it's all Swiss made for under $195 is amazing. A little bit more style to this one. I'm not going to say it's as safe as the last one, but it certainly is bold, and it has a huge bracelet on here. So whether you have a 6-inch wrist or a 9-inch wrist, it's going to fit and look great. 287825.
Coming in at number 3. This is the Deep Diver 1500 series from Luminox 285612. Modified to no shape case that will wear much larger on the wrist. Gentlemen, be prepared for a watch that's going to wear closer to a 45, 46mm. This features the Swiss-made ETA 2826 automatic movement inside. That's a 3-hand automatic movement similar to the 2824 with just a few slight differences. One being the oversized date window. You've got the T25 tritium for all of the hour markers and even the pip inside that unidirectional bezel. You got an automatic helium escape valve, as this does have 500 meters of water resistance. A sapphire crystal, $285-612, $900. We are more than 50% off on this timepiece. 5 payments of $180. $285-612. That's number 3.
Number 2, one of our newest designs that has been flying out the door is the Polaris Multifunction. You'll notice that on that one single crown, you're able to operate all functions of the watch. This is one of those watches that the moment you pick it up, you realize, okay, this is unique. It is almost kind of an homage back to an Art Deco kind of style. Now, if you notice that back in the 30s and the 40s, there was a symbol for certain V8 engines, certain kind of V8 engines that really looked incredible. You see it? Maybe you don't. You weren't there.
No, I was not.
I wasn't either, thank goodness. But there was a symbol for the V and the 8 that was from the 30s and 40s. This is how that looks for this watch. It has kind of a vintage feel to it that I think when people wear it, it's going to be really nice to have kind of a 21st century watch with just a touch of time travel to it. $124.99, all of that style, the beautiful texturing within the dial, the multiple layers that are within it that give you those additional chapter rings, but there's also those subtle details around the outer chapter ring of the watch that gives you the second indices. All of this on a beautiful bracelet. $124.99, only $25 gets it home. We like this watch. 288892 will get you the Lucian Peard Polaris.
And look what the number 1 seller is.
Oh,
Oh, you?
I just bought a lot of watches today. Folks, I think it has nothing to do with presentation and everything to do with the design. And honest to goodness, the folks here have outdone themselves with the Matador Automatic. This is a stunning rendering, and for those of you that purchased today, you realize that out of the 200 for the planet, you just sent the numbers plunging. And the chances of running into somebody who happens to be wearing one of these watches are going to be infinitely small. I'll be one of them, and you who purchased today will be too. 200 parts within this watch. That is a lot to put together. And thank goodness we have great craftsmen who've done just that. It's a 42 jewel automatic with 44 hours of power reserve, all within this 46 millimeter case. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but there's still even 50 meters of water resistance. So if this is the watch you choose to take on vacation and you happen to get pushed in the pool or caught in the rain, don't worry, the watch will hold up. You also have the great Lucian Peard logo right there, and their date of establishment. You've heard us talk about it a lot. You rarely get to see the date, 1923. It has the 2HR851 movement inside, and both the dial and that rotor are protected by Sapphitech crystal. Limited edition to 200, and you've had the great wisdom to pick up this watch at a fraction of what it should be selling for. 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand. There is also a GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, secondary hand that's on this watch right there, but you also have a power reserve indicator, which was that was the big decision maker for me, because I don't always know how much power is within the watch. I can watch both dual barrel beating hearts, but do I have 10% battery life left? What do I have before I have to plug it back in? Well, you realize it's the motion of your wrist, but if you want to ensure you have a full charge, all you have to do is a little bit of winding right here, and you can see exactly. I will have no problem for the next 44 hours because I have a full charge on this watch. 283090. I'm going to slip it on the wrist 1 second, and then we've got to show you some more beautiful, beautiful timepieces.
Now, on our last show, we did feature the Matador Automatic in the black and silver tone. While it's still available, you will get the TV price and stress-free payments.
On
These
both?
prices, yes.
Oh,
the
good.
TV price and stress-free payments are good until Sunday Eastern Standard Time, midnight. So if you like this, but maybe they wanted to see what the other one looked like, you could still purchase that one as well.
And I did. I purchased the silver tone. I think you're going to be very, very pleased with either one. In fact, we'll guarantee it. You have a 30-day money-back guarantee. We're going to pay for the shipping for it to come to you. You don't have to look for a coupon, and per chance, you have to send it back. Don't worry. We'll pay for it to come back here, too, because that means one more person on the planet can possibly have this ultra limited edition piece. This is what gets me. I think about Niso. I think about that entire watch team just going crazy just going crazy designing these pieces and doing everything that they're doing, and they only made 200. I mean, wouldn't you want to make 2,000? Wouldn't you want to have so many people have it? But only 200. Folks, I happen to like this an awful lot, and I think you're going to as well. That is such a great shot. How close can you get up in on that? Can you get into those dual, just before we leave this shot, because I really want you to see this. We're seeing things up close that maybe you're not getting to see. Oh, that's great. There is so much dimension within this watch, and I have to tell you that just looking at your wrist and telling the time and seeing both of those beating hearts, because at some point, I know I shouldn't tell you this. This may be a top secret thing. Tourbillon. What if I told you we may possibly bringing tourbillon?
Oh, really?
Yes, I can't say anything about that. Just a maybe. You may see some of our popularly priced brands having an incredible.
That's so exciting.
I can't validate that yet, but please start a watch rumor out there that some of our brands are going to be bringing you tourbillon.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
It's just a maybe. It's just we're trying to work it out. You know how expensive those are?
Yes.
But this has a look. I mean, in the same way that the tourbillon, which rotates on itself, it's basically an axis that rotates on an axis. This
Say what now?
Don't make me repeat that. FCC will not allow it. But I want you to just see that when you look into this watch, it has that same visual interest as the tourbillon. And I think that's just great. I think you're really going to appreciate it. All right, folks, we are delighted that you have an opportunity to have this, and I think you're going to be very, very pleased all the way around. So don't let this one get away from you. I think it's going to be incredible. Now, coming up right behind that is going to be one I think you're really, really going to like. Now, I think you're really going to appreciate the fact that you have such an incredible timepiece at just a fraction of the cost. Take a peek. Now, what you have, of course, is Bulova. Bulova has been building watches since 1875. And you know that when you have Bulova, you have such an incredible name and craftsmanship. Now, as they draw in closer, I want you to take a look at the watch and realize that you are getting so much product here for the price point. I cannot believe that we have this Bulova for under $100. When I saw it, I mean, just seeing this kind of configuration is absolutely beautiful. The brown dial is not, I mean, I have black dials, I have white dials, I have blue dials. I only have, I think, one other watch that has a brown dial to it. Now, is this one of, I mean, do you like the particular watch?
Yeah, I think it's gorgeous. I love the rose and the brown together.
Well, I like it a lot, too. I think it's just one of the ones that is, in my opinion, I think it really stands out. Now, as we come in even closer, I want you to just take a peek for a moment and realize that you were getting, of course, a fully functioning chronograph. And I think this one looks absolutely stunning. Now, simply hitting that pusher at the 2 o'clock position is going to give us a start, the stop, and of course the reset right there. And you even have a date complication at the 4 o'clock position. Now, if you're wondering, if you're just looking at this going, wait a minute, I like a continuously operating sweep band. It's done as a small seconds at the 6 o'clock position. Easy to read. One of the classic features I love on a watch is when it has the Roman numerals on it. That's just, I like the Roman numerals on a watch better than I like the Arabic numerals. This is one of the ones that certainly looks great all the way around. Notice it is an ultra-thin watch, and it's only 42 millimeters wide, but it is incredibly thin, and even though it's a smaller watch, notice they still put that natural curve right there that the wrist would have. The Croco embossed leather strap, I think, looks great. Now, this is just one of the watches that, if you haven't seen it on the wrist, you're going to realize it has a great presence. In fact, I want to show you that right now, and you can tell me if it's one that you would really, really like.
I also think this is one of those nice because it's a 42 millimeter. It's a nice unisex size as well. Because I mean, I would wear it. You know, it's slim enough. So I'll try it on when you're done, actually.
Absolutely. Now take a look. Now this is, on my wrist, just under a 7-inch wrist, so that'll give you an idea how that plays. It's not too small, it's not too large, and I think that is incredibly comfortable on the wrist. The thick padded leather strap is also one that you'll find comfortable to wear. I believe I have it on just about the tightest configuration, but look, there is still a generous amount of strap if you needed to put that on a much larger wrist. There's 2 keepers on there, so if you do have a smaller wrist and you need to tuck that in, it's going to fit. This is that great watch for the office. I mean, it's very dressy, but it's not ostentatious. It's one that if you're going out to dinner, it's going to be easy to read. There is lume on this watch, and you can see that on the hands right there. I don't see any lume on the Roman numerals or the hour indices, but just by the hands, the shorter and the longer, having that lume on there, it's still going to allow you to see that clearly. Now, I'm going to let Megan try this on, and she can tell me what she thinks if she wanted to wear this as possibly a lady style.
Well, I just really like the color combination of the rose and that dark, dark brown. And something I was noticing inside the dial is the edge where the Roman numeral hour markers are placed. It's almost like at a slant, like a stadium dial, how it slowly, from the center of the dial towards the crystal, almost sort of raises up like stadium seating. So I like that because it gives the hour markers more of a presence to them. Here's how it plays on my 6-inch wrist. You can see it's a great size. It's not too long. I was actually a little concerned that maybe it would be too long, but the color is just so rich and just so beautiful. I think it's a really, really nice option, maybe for a lady as well. It's not too loose. I have it on the tightest configuration as well, and it's definitely not too loose. 1-822-363-9999. But even better, how about this? A $350 Bulova that you just have to put $20 down to own. $20 down on any major credit card, and we ship this to you for free. 1-822-363. All right, we are going to transition now. We've got more coming up at the end of, we're about 10 minutes away from our third and final hour. You do have until midnight Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. That gives you a lot of opportunity to purchase these items with the TV price and the stress-free payments. As you've seen, every single item is on 5 stress-free payments. Quick mention here of 228724. Here you've got a cushion-shaped case in a 46mm Bulova. Now with the Precisionist, you do have the world's most accurate movement.
I'm not sure this is a Precisionist.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, we are going to just move on from this. We're going to go to ESQ by Movado. Here, this is fun, perfect for Halloween, perfect for the fall coming up with the black and orange color combination. ESQ by Movado is great. If you want Movado, but maybe you can't afford just yet Swiss-made Movado, ESQ by Movado gives you Swiss-made movement, not a Swiss-made watch. At the 6 o'clock position, it does say Swiss quartz. That's what we were talking about. Sometimes they'll say different things at the dial. ESQ by Movado has the Movado name for a much lower price point. And this is all about fun. This is a 44mm case, all blacked out with the orange strap and hour markers. And again, is this not just Halloween and fall and when people start wearing those spice tones? That's what I see here. And in fact, it's not as neon or not as bright as it looked in that shot, doesn't it? It seems darker now.
Well, I think part of the lighting in there kind of gave a reflection off of it. The watch is not as loud as you might think it would be, and hopefully your television is showing exactly what we're seeing, and that is just a pop of color. Orange is a very popular color. Even Maurice Lacroix, when it wanted to add a bit of sportiness, did not choose a yellow, they chose an orange. And I think what we're seeing here is here's a watch that you rarely are going to find at ESQ by Movado at this price point. Now, believe it or not, this is all stainless steel, but it is an ultra soft touch. Megan, would you be so kind to just feel that case? Remember, this is stainless steel.
It's wrapped in rubber, yeah.
It has the soft touch feel to it. So even though the case is durable, you can see the case back in, there's my fingerprint, of course, but there is that durable stainless steel, but they've used a soft touch texturing over it, so it makes the watch very comfortable to wear. This is that great sport watch that maybe if you were jogging.
My next door neighbor has one of these. He has it in black and blue.
See, that's like a bruise. That's like when I exercise. And this is just one of the watches that if you're going to run, if you're going to the gym, if you wanted to kind of have a very sporty or fashion-forward look, this is the watch to wear. And I think it does look great. There's your start, your stop, and of course your reset. And you notice they even put a reverse date wheel in there, black wheel, with the appropriate color lettering instead of just using the traditional white, which means it's a custom wheel for this watch.
Two things that stand out for me. One, that E for the ESQ logo at the 12 o'clock position. It does have a nice symmetrical look, matching up with your 3, 6, and 9 o'clock subdials. I like that. But also, going back quickly to this rubberized coating, it's super comfortable, but you know what else is also nice about it? Not going to scratch. You never have to worry about your black eye scratching.
Let me show you this too. The keeper on here, no matter where you set it, you have the ability to lock it into place so that it doesn't move.
Because it gets annoying sometimes. Like I have some watches where the tongue will hang out and it, you know, like it gets caught on things or it just looks unsightly.
So here's the deal. If you know, once you thread that to the appropriate size, and then you tuck this into place, you have the ability to lock it in so it stays in there, so it's not going to come out and flop around. That was just very clever, and it just shows the design detail you would expect from a company like ESQ by Movado. And automatically people are going to think you paid that $300 price point for this watch because that is what it should sell for. $99.99. Maybe you have a young person in your world, maybe you have somebody that enjoys being outside jogging or going to the gym, and you really need to put a watch on that you know is going to stand out a bit. Do not hesitate to get this watch because they're going to think you spent a mint. And the reality is, if you want to change the look of the watch entirely, go ahead and order one of our black silicone or rubber straps, and then the only pop of orange is going to be on the dial. I mean, that's a very reasonable way to change the look of the watch entirely. $99.99, only $20 gets it home. Where else are you going to get an ESQ by Movado? The other thing I want you to consider is check out our website. We have other ESQs and other Movados there. And if this isn't the right one, they come in other colors, styles, and configurations, and I feel confident we have the right one for you. Now, Megan, if you were running, wouldn't you feel like you'd be a little bit more seen with this style of watch on? Just that kind of splash of color. 277705, the ESQ by Movado, is a great bargain, and it makes a great gift this holiday season. So if you want to get a $300 watch at 66% off the retail price, congratulations, you've landed at the right spot. We're going to pay for shipping. And if you do get it home and you decide that's not the right color, then send it back. We'll give you every penny back. Now, I want you to take a peek right here and see that you have, again, in this shot, which is the beauty shot, gives you a little bit more detail. The color pops a little bit more because, remember, that's incredibly bright. You can't tell it from here. The LED lighting's in there. Now, I want to switch gears for a moment to something that maybe is a bit more interesting. In fact, when my son saw the Ritmo Mundo watches that we have, he said, "Dad, you've got to get me one of those." I'm like, can't you pick one of our brands where we control the price a little better? Ritmo Mundo. Now, you've seen these watches in 1,000 different locations. Now it's time for you to see one on your wrist. Well, I can't get one. They're $800, $900. Now, I'm going to let Megan try this on because this one is a bit more, I mean, I would wear this size, but it might be a little small. I think this is very appropriate for a lady's wrist. It's a 40 millimeter. And it looks like a pocket watch that someone has attached a strap to.
You know what's funny is we always air the Corinthian chronograph in the full 46 millimeter size, and we just recently got in the 40 millimeter. So I love it because it's got that fun, as Wiley just said, it's got that fun, almost vintage pocket watch style to it. But the 46 millimeter for my wrist is always just too big. So this at 40 millimeters, now keep in mind it's going to wear larger than that because of the extended crown and pushers and because of the way the lugs are attached, but it does have that fun presentation without being too big and bulky. I also like the perfect donut-shaped case. It's a perfectly round, symmetrical case.
The perfect donut.
With that concave shape to the crystal itself. It's all just got that fun vintage flair to it. It's definitely a high fashion look from a brand based in Beverly Hills, California. Ritmo Mundo watches are seen on the Ocean's 11, 12, and 13 movies. They were worn in Sex and the City, Fast and the Furious, lots of different TV shows. So they are definitely all about those wild, stylized designs. You've got a Citizen Miyota quartz chronograph movement inside. When I hit that 2 o'clock pusher, it starts the 6 o'clock sub-dial. I'm going to reset that, and it just snaps right back into place. I even like the old world design of the hands. They're almost like modified Breguet-style hands. 276-503. $250, but remember, it's a $900 watch, so there's over $600 in savings. Now, moving on to U-Boat, item number 216434. This is the U-Boat Left Hook IFO Limited Edition. This is the fuller size. We do have 2 variations of this particular watch. This is the full size. It's a modified Russian-style diver watch, and you know, Wiley and I, we had a meeting yesterday, and we found out from somebody we're going to be getting a lot more U-boats coming up on the shows in the coming weeks. Isn't that right?
You are going to be blown away by our U-boats. Did you like that? It really is nice to see that some of the watches that you listed in your surveys. By the way, if we send you a survey thing, go ahead and fill it out, because we do listen. In fact, Megan and I have read every single one of them. We have gone through them, as our the entire collection of people have. And this was one of the brands people really, really like.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Now, there's 2 different varieties of this, and I want you to go ahead and take a peek at the website to see there's another version of this that's a different style. I like this one because it just has all the labelings that you would find on a submarine. I remember being with my parents as a small child, and we stopped somewhere. I think it was in Virginia, and they had a battleship there as well as a submarine that were both World War II era. And seeing so many of the items that were inside there, this reminds me of that look. I mean, they really have done a great job to jump back to the past, but give truly a 21st century watch that seems to be very, very popular right now.
But you know what's cool? Because it's a left-handed configuration, it really does make a lot of sense for everybody, but definitely for lefties such as myself, because I wear my watch on my right wrist because I'm a lefty. So it's difficult for me. I can't really ever set the crown or do anything, especially maybe if you're using a chronograph. It can be a little bit awkward sometimes. So wearing a lefty watch, well, a watch made for a lefty, means that I can access the crown and pushers just like everybody else can.
And for the rest of us who are normal,
it's even better.
It means that when we wear this watch, the crown is on the opposite side. And when you have an oversized watch, what's going to happen is it's going to allow us to bend our wrist and not bump into the crown because it'll be on the opposite side. And that is why they have done that. I know you would like to believe...
Great job, lefties. It's going to be more convenient. Oh, but it's going to be uncomfortable.
It won't be uncomfortable. It's just going to be like any other watch. It's just if you were perchance doing something very, very athletic while wearing the watch, which at this price point you probably wouldn't want to wear this watch, you could end up bumping the back of your hand. Probably not going to happen for most of our viewers. All right, let me put this watch on. You need to see that even though it's a big watch, it's going to fit just great. And you know what? This is designed to be seen. It's a bit to be oversized. 52. Let me say it again. 52 millimeters. Look at that. Now, I want you to see that the watch does cover north and south all the way to my wrist. But because of the leather strap and because the lugs allow it to drop straight down, this watch is so easy to wear. The Miyota B53 movement in here is going to be reliable and accurate. Now, don't for a moment think, well, shouldn't this have a Swiss movement in it? U-Boat over and over again has used the Miyota movements. They have been reliable and accurate. I mean, when you think Japanese or even Chinese, you don't think inferior. That whole concept. I mean, when you think Seiko, when you think Citizen, when you think iPhones made in China, you don't go, oh, well, those must be, disposable. Absolutely not. And understand that some of the best movement, like Seagull, is a Chinese movement, and their grade A Seagull movements will hold their own against just about anybody outside of maybe the very best of the Swiss watch makers. This is one of the watches that from the moment you put it on, you realize you have bought an investment. You've bought a piece that is going to make you happy for years to come, because it's an investment in time. $2,650. $2,650 is the list price. Now, if you want to wait a bit, you can get it from us for $699, which is nearly a $2,000 savings. And that is a great thing. But right now, being able to get this at this new low price is the best way to do it. And it looks good, don't you think?
I think so.
It's big. I know that.
That's
I
fun.
realize that.
I mean,
It
if you're
looks
wearing a big watch, you're wearing it for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, U-Boat is about style and presence, and as they open new shops around the world, you're going to see more and more of these watches on really smart people's wrists.
All right, well, we've made it to our third and final hour of our show today, so we've only got a little bit longer together. But do not worry, because the entire lineup is available at WorldofWatches.tv right now from both days of the show, including a couple hundred additional watches that we just don't have time to go through in the 6 hours we are on air every week. So definitely check out WorldofWatches.tv. You have until Sunday, midnight Eastern Standard Time to get these TV prices and the stress-free payments. And remember, every single item is on 5. So we are getting you ready, not just to build your own watch collection, but to start thinking about the holidays, which are rapidly approaching.
We want to make that stress-free too.
Yeah.
We do. I mean,
Because Lord knows we know how stressful holidays can be. At least we're going to save you a little bit of money.
And shipping.
That's right.
Free shipping.
All right, let's jump into a preview and show you just a little sample of what's coming up in our third and final hour.
It is Citizen. Now, you're going to love the fact that 80% of Citizen watches now have the Echo Drive. That simply means that it allows light to penetrate that dial. It doesn't appear to have solar panels on the dial, but believe me, light penetrates that dial and is able to charge a titanium lithium-ion battery within. This watch has easily 6 months of power reserve if it was left in complete darkness, so have no fear that it's just going to stop, and the internal computer is still going to keep track of time. This is one of those watches from the moment you pick it up, you realize you've got a great timepiece. You happen to have the 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, a continuously operating sweep hand. You have 3 additional subdials, with the subdial at the 6 o'clock position, operating multiple functions within the watch because it's a multifunction. You happen to have all of that controlled by 2 pushers and a crown on this beautiful, beautiful strap. $525 is what you're going to pay anywhere else, and not with us, only $314. Even if we do not air this watch, I guarantee you it's going to be one of the best sellers. Why? Because you know what you're getting with all of that technology crammed into that great case. $314.99, only $63 gets it home. Go ahead, give us a call before these go too quickly. Right behind that is the Jean Richard Aeroscope. Now, we happen to love the Jean Richard Aeroscope. This one happens to have that great sandblasted DLC diamond-like carbon coating. It's all Swiss made with the vertical satin finish, 49mm case, grade 5 titanium, and the JR66 movement, which is a 43 joule movement with 42 hours of power reserve. Wait till we show you this live on the wrist. You're going to love this watch. It's $4,000 off the retail price. If you don't believe me, look it up online. Try to find anybody who's offering this for less money. We'll beat or meet the price. Go ahead, give us a call on this one. We'll show it to you live in just moments. Right behind that, oh, this is brand new, the Lucian Peard Murano. You know, I love the fact that this has just a very much Italian luxury look to it. Talking to Niso earlier, this is also one of the designs he really, really likes too. It is a multi-layered dial, and it almost looks like you're looking through, very expensive Venetian blinds into the very back part of the watch. But it's just part of the design function of the watch. You have Cote de Genev on the very bottom layer. Then you have chapter rings that lay over it that give you style and texture. You have a 2-eye chronograph, and a date complication at the 6 o'clock position. All of this in a very stylized and very tasteful case for under $120. That's a lot of watch for only $24 to get it home. You're going to love it. But take a look at this.
My hot pick for the show, the Blue Genev from Swiss Legend. Now, this is in the smallest size, the 38mm size. We do have, in this new Swiss-made collection, 4 different sizes to choose from. 38, 42, 46, and 48. I went with the 38mm on bracelet for my hot pick today. I'm going to go right to the wrist with this because I want you to see how stunning, how truly, truly stunning that mother of pearl dial is. Now that mother of pearl dial has been painted this beautiful, rich, royal blue. And what's amazing is how well they've matched it to the royal blue ceramic bezel insert. I always am partial to this royal blue and rose color combination, so I went with the two-tone bracelet from my hot pick today. This is the all-new ISO movement that's a multi-function. So when I use the top pusher, I adjust my date at the 3 o'clock position. When I pull my crown one click, I set the day of the week. And when I use my 4 o'clock pusher, sorry, my finger's in the way, I can set off either a secondary time zone or use it as an AM/PM indicator for the currently displayed hours. I love this. I love the dodecagon shape to the case and bezel. I like that it's a 38 millimeter, so it's a full size for my 6-inch wrist without being too big and cartoonish. And it's easy. It's $38 down. You guys have been trained for so long on these shows to see Swiss-made watches for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So we are so pleased to be able to bring out Swiss Legends, Swiss-made watches. And we have not even hit 200 bucks.
They're also used from our competitors to see Swiss watches at hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Absolutely. And here we are, $190, 187-834. And how about this dial? I mean, you can see this from across the room. This is so stunning. Imagine wearing this with like blue jeans. I'm already like planning 5 outfits.
You're going to buy that watch, aren't you?
I'm already planning like 5 outfits with this watch. But you, easy for you to make this your pick because you already own this watch, or you will own it in a few days.
I have ordered this watch in the silver variation. The moment I saw this watch, there's just something very captivating and hypnotic about the dial of this watch. And I think it was so very clever. And unfortunately, they have a whole bunch more of really exciting designs coming. I mean, I'm going to be working here just to buy watches. I'm serious. Folks, I cannot begin to tell you, just walking through yesterday through the design studios, there are some watches that are on the way that are going to absolutely blow you away, and you're going to think, well, I can't afford that. That has got to be into the multiple thousands. I'm telling you, there are designs that, like, I have never seen any watchmaker do. And I don't know what they're doing in there. I don't know, but they're inspired. And these watches have been so easy to purchase. Folks, look at this. There's only 200 of these for the entire planet. And in just a moment, because we've already made several presentations, and you can review those, of course, on YouTube, and go back to World of Watches and look at us on there, but hopefully finding just the right thing for you if you're missing part of the show. But there's 200 parts for this watch. 200 parts in here. Limited edition. Of course, you have Sapphitech crystal. You have a 3-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand, a GMT secondary time zone, and a retrograde power reserve indicator. And a watch that easily should sell for $1,000. That's it. But look at it, $349. That is incredible. I just can't believe they did all that designing. Could have charged $1,000 because you're only going to get $1,000 from only 200 people. That's not enough to keep all the lights on here. Are you kidding? And then they went ahead and dropped it at bargain basement price. Trust us on this. If you get this home, you're not going to go, oh wow, that is so not what I expected. That is a really chintzy cheap watch. You're going to be amazed that you only got this for $349. If you don't believe me, you go ahead and send it back. We'll take the watch back and give you every penny back. That's how confident we are of this brand new design that is selling very, very quick. Go ahead and get yours, either in silver or gold.
All right, well, what do we have planned for this hour? We never know. Ben & Sons. Now, last hour, we aired the Ben & Sons Voyager on the stainless steel mesh bracelet. You know, what I found interesting when we were speaking to Niso Barocas, of course, who is the creative director for our company-owned brands, he was talking about how, as we're going to start seeing with a lot of our new company-owned brands, things might be under the same collection umbrella, but there might be some subtle differences between each individual variation. So we're seeing a completely new flavor of this Voyager with this one, because last hour it had the stainless steel mesh bracelet, all silver tone. Now we got maybe more of a dress model in a very unique two-tone. I mean, it's golden gunmetal.
Do you know what makes this watch for me? I mean, this is going to sound really odd. It's the pops of blue.
Interesting.
The watch would have just been maybe a little less interesting visually. There's something about that pop of color that is not over the top. It's not in your face. It's just such, you just go, you know what? That looks really good. And it does. Here's what you're going to love. You know, I'm bending the watch, seeing me stretch the watch, because when I lay it down, it's going to go completely flat, right? Nope. What you're going to love is they made the strap, which has solid end links, but that's leather. Yes, with solid end links built into it. They've made it so it naturally curves. It is always at just the right shape for your wrist. Now, you know, both you and I have picked up prototype watches, brand new watches, and if they're flat, you have to bend them to your wrist, and it takes a while before they begin to take the shape of your wrist. And we have watches like that. Those are great. And just like, you know, old school blue jeans. Remember old Levi's, you'd buy them? You don't know this. But back when I was talking with Levi Strauss, when he was alive, you could buy his jeans, and they were as stiff as a board. You'd put them on, and if old school, you would actually get into a bathtub wearing the jeans, and they would actually fit to your body.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to know something funny? In the 4th grade, I wrote a poem about Levi Strauss, and it got published in a book.
Did you
I
really?
swear. There once was a man named Levi. He invented the jeans that we buy. I swear.
Good night.
Can I just go home now? I'm not even
love
joking.
that. No, I love that. I was just, when you were in, how old?
4th grade.
That's amazing. We should.
5 years ago.
This watch has nothing to do with Levi Strauss, but it looks
I don't
great.
even know where we went for
I
that.
don't know either. But this watch is as comfortable as an old pair of Levi's, because the moment you put the watch on, I just want you to see it on the wrist. This is really where I was leading with all that.
Sorry.
Is just trust me, they won't know. And this is, it just fits. I mean, the watch is incredibly comfortable. It is naturally to the shape of the wrist. And when it comes to the leather straps that you might get for a watch, what I was saying was sometimes they're very straight and stiff, and it takes a while for them to form to you. This watch naturally does that with all of the look and that adventuresome spirit. I love the fact that you could be the adventurer by day, you know, swinging from a vine and getting over past the quicksand and fighting the crocodiles, and then at night be at the gentleman's drawing room with this fine watch on in your suit, which I think you would look great. The Voyager chronograph with the genuine black leather strap, the gunmetal case, should be at the $300 to $400 price point. We've dropped it down to $159, but for the show, $99.99. Only $20 gets this fine timepiece home. You can shop with confidence, 30-day money-back guarantee, and we'll pay for shipping. 287665, the Ben & Sons Voyager.
Interesting that they went with golden gunmetal.
I love that. It really is a nice-looking watch.
210278, a nice straightforward classic look from Bulova. But you know what's interesting is even something straightforward can be quite expensive. A $400 price. I mean, I know that we talk about how sometimes we get a little bit jaded here because we are always seeing so many different watches, but for most people out there, and I would put myself in this category, sometimes just spending $400 on a whim is not always very easy.
You don't do that.
Of course.
Now, in this 41.5 millimeter case, you are getting really a lot of style. And when you see it, I'm going to have to show you three-dimensionally how this watch just wears. Now, the watch is only 11 millimeters thick, so as we come into that shot, and you're able to see it live, I mean, it looks like a fairly traditional timepiece, but then you realize there is a convex shape to both the crystal and to the case. Now, that looks fairly traditional, beautiful all the way around. You can see the high polish that's on the Arabic numerals, the hands all the way around, the chapter rings around the subdials. But when you turn the watch over and realize how thin it is, and notice it's kind of like a bowl sitting there with the bracelet attached to it, and you can see the convex crystal. The watch is only 11 millimeters thick. Now, they've used a dual push button, dual scissor deployant, which means that even though I have a small wrist, this watch is going to go over my large hand easily. Now, there's a high mirror polish on the back of this that is easy, that if you wanted to engrave that, you could. Now, I'm going to slip the watch on. I want you to see, before I do that, that you happen to have a three-hand configuration. You have the hour, the minute, and that continuously operating sweep hand as a small seconds as it's at the 6 o'clock position. You have 2 additional subdials for the chronograph, and simply hitting the pusher is going to start our chronograph, stop, and of course our reset right there as you would traditionally expect. There's an expanded date window here at the 12 o'clock position, which makes this easy to see the date, but also gives you a glimpse inside so that you can see a little bit more of the inner workings of the watch. Now, I think the bracelet on this watch is really very, very nice and comfortable. It is incredibly smooth, both front and back. They have finished the inside, so it's not as rough as some bracelets are. I don't know why some watchmakers do that. They don't finish the inside as well as the outside. Here you have both. Now, slipping that on the wrist, you'll see that that is a great fit for me. This is just the right size. It lays very flat on the wrist, so if my sleeves were down, I was wearing a dress shirt, and it is not a hair puller. This is a watch that I do not have to worry about. It's going to suddenly just pull everything out of there. The watch, I think, looks fantastic, and the watch should sell for that $400 price point, and does in department stores, saving you $100, $299. But for the show, $139. Can you believe that? Only $28 gets this home. Go ahead, take a moment, Google it, Bing it if you need to. Do what you have to
Bing
see.
it. I feel sorry for Bing.
They're doing well.
I'm sure they're doing okay, but
Do you realize they're going to call you just laughed at Bing?
I know. I just feel like Bing is not in our vernacular like Google is. Google is a verb now.
They should hire somebody. $139, only $28 gets the watch home, and free shipping and 30-day money-back guarantee. We love our Bulovas since 1875. In fact, I'll show you another one. We think you'll like this one too.
I like that we have so many different variations of Bulova. And Bulova, as you're talking about, is that classic company. So many people know it. It's funny. I know I've talked about this before, but one time I was looking on our website when I was visiting my father, and he wanted to get his wife a watch, and we were actually deciding between some Bulovas. And my dad is a pretty big watch collector in general, and I was giving him suggestions of some of the brands, and he wasn't sure. Oh, maybe this, maybe that. And I said, well, we could do Bulova, and he goes, yes, Bulova. Bulova's good. Everybody knows Bulova. And it's just one of those that it's interesting that especially the past few years, how they really kind of reinvented their brand, because they were so popular back in the 50s and 60s, and then in the 80s, 90s, it sort of kind of lost their way a bit with some of their design. And now it seems about the past 5 to 10 years, they really have so many different variations. Like this has that classic look to it, but then we see the super modern precisionist.
Well, and you know, this, if I'm not mistaken, this was a precursor to the Precisionist. This was maybe released shortly before that, and it has some of the same levels of technology and accuracy. It cannot hold the records that the Precisionist does, but just like the previous watch, you'll notice that the configuration of the dials are exactly the same, and they have the same movements in it. So maybe you don't want to necessarily spend the money of the Precisionist. You would like something much more in the luxury style. You need something ultra slimline. This is not quite running at that 262 kilohertz that the ultra high frequency watches are, but it is still a much more accurate timepiece than you're going to find with your traditional quartz. And I think it has a whole lot of style. Look at the Croco embossed leather strap that's also on this. A generous amount. Look at that. I mean, I want you to look at how much strap is passing by there. That if you have a much larger wrist than either Megan or I, that's still going to be comfortable. But because you have a very, very good selection of how far you can cinch this down, you're going to find that it fits very, very well. Exactly what you saw before, three-hand configuration. You happen to have the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand at the 6 o'clock position, 2 additional sub-dials for your chronograph, and an expanded date window. Slipping this watch on is easy to do because it is a simple traditional buckle. And you can see right there, that looks good.
I like that the bezel itself is brushed, and then you can see just the mirror polishing of the edges of the case. Because it's a cushion-shaped case, you've got the square with the rounded edges, and then the circular-shaped bezel. That's how you know it's a cushion. What's interesting is almost as if the bezel itself is slightly larger than the square-shaped case. So you can see how they've mirror polished those rounded square edges, and it really has a nice pop against the brushed bezel.
Well, and I think this has a really nice presence on there. I mean, look at that. I mean, what do you think? The question,
Yes.
would your boyfriend wear this watch? Would you take it from him?
I would. Should I try it on?
Please.
I'm just going to take it right from him. I have a 6-inch wrist, just for perspective. So everybody out there, it's an average, it's a slimmer wrist, I suppose, for a lady's wrist. I'm cinching this down to the tightest closure. You know what's nice is when the leather strap, and this is one of those watches, where the leather strap already feels broken in.
Yes, not a stiff strap.
Yeah, sometimes the watch straps can be, and you can always tell when we have those watches on our wrists, because you'll notice that the case might
puckers,
fit, but it sits up a little bit. This is almost as if the leather strap comes pre-broken in. And I think that's a really important feature, especially if you're going to have to wear this every single day. Yeah, this looks nice on the wrist, right?
I think it's very sophisticated.
It's not a tall case at all.
Compare that to the watch you were already wearing, which is your lady's watch. Realize they're not that different in size.
No, this is about a 42 millimeter. I'm wearing a 38 on my other wrist. Easy to wear, just so nice. And again, you've got that rich chocolate brown croco embossed strap. You've got that warm, inviting rose tone for the case and bezel. And I like that they then went with the black dial, because I know, gentlemen out there, if you're anything like my boyfriend who has to dress up for work every day, there's always he needs the watch with the brown shoes and then the watch with the black shoes. And this one with the brown strap and the black dial, you kind of get both.
If you're like her boyfriend, a man of great patience. Do you know what?
St. Colin is what we like to call him.
When the Pope was here, started to... But one of the things that, ladies, if you're thinking about gift giving, go ahead and get this for that guy in your life, and then you can borrow it.
Yeah, that's true. I always that's why I always love recommending that when we sell like the chronomats on the strap. I'm always like, yeah, get this one, ladies, and get it, and then you can steal it from your husbands.
Yeah, one Christmas my daughter bought me pumps and was like, oh, Dad, I guess you can't wear those. And I went, oh, watch this. They're nice shoes.
251-864. $40 gets it home. $40. You put down 10% of that list price. $40.
That really is amazing.
Well, we are in a Bulova state of mind right now. 210-283.
Just a brief mention on this Marine Star. I want you to just take a look at this just for a moment. We're only going to stay with it just for a few seconds because, we've had a lot of Bulovas so far, and we've got a couple more to show you. The Marine Star is a very sporty version of the Bulova line. And here they've used, I can't really tell if this is from just this shot. It looks like they've also used a bit of a coloring over the crystal of the watch.
It almost looks like
but
the
it's not,
dial.
because you can see.
Yeah, it almost looks like the dial is that OD green. And then you've got the gunmetal for the case, the bezel, the bracelet. $125. Even better, though. Everything being on 5 payments means you just put down $25 on any major credit card. We ship this watch to you. 210-283.
That's a very stealthy watch. 100 meters of water resistance on that. You're going to really appreciate the design of that watch. Speaking of design from Bulova, now we do have a precisionist. Buckle up, because you know that if you're getting this watch, you are getting one of the most accurate quartz movement on the planet. If you have a timepiece, whether it is a grandfather clock, whether it is that watch on your wrist, you have something that by the motion of something else is gauging time. The grandfather clock that you have has the motion of that pendulum, and the swing back and forth is giving a measurement of time. If you happen to have a mechanical or automatic watch, it happens to be the motion of what's going on inside, such as the balance wheel rotating back and forth. Those motions are giving indications of seconds to minutes, minutes to hours. If you have a quartz movement, they found out by applying electricity to quartz, it has the piezoelectric reaction. That piezoelectric reaction causes a vibration. That vibration can be measured. That measurement gives you a measurement of time. If you have a quartz movement on your wrist right now, you have a technological wonder. I don't care if it's a $10 watch that you got at the dime store or it's $10,000. They're all running the same way. Electricity running through a piece of quartz, which happens to be causing motion, which is a measurement of time. Bulova has found a way to make it not run at the quartz movement on your wrist speed, which is 32 kilohertz. That's accurate to within 10 seconds per month. They have found a way to make that wonderful little piece of quartz inside of here vibrate at 262 kilohertz. What does that mean? It means it is 8 times more accurate than the watch that's on your wrist. This watch, without getting a signal from anywhere else, left to its own devices, is accurate to within 10 seconds per year. Set it January 1st, and January 1st of next year, it will only have a variation, give or take, of 10 seconds. That is amazing. Now this is a simple three-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand. You have a beautiful textured center part of the dial. You have a date complication between the 4 and 5 o'clock position and a high mirror polished outer chapter ring that's going to have the Arabic numerals of the 12, 3, 6, and 9. The black IP plating all the way around on this watch looks fantastic. I can tell you, it's a Bulova Precisionist. What does that mean? It's heavy. I mean, it's got some weight to it. They spared no expense on the 316L stainless steel. But on this watch, 200 meters of water resistance, try 300.
That's amazing.
That really, I can't imagine being that deep down. But this watch, should you be fishing and drop it off the side of the boat, when they do find it eventually, it's going to be fine. Because I'm not going down that far.
I would be so sad if I lost my watch over the side of the boat.
We've got a story about that.
Yes, we do.
We shouldn't give that away.
No, not yet.
Folks, we're not going to tell you, but
time.
we have, oh my goodness. I'm going to tease it. There is a great story of a lost watch, one of our brands, and you know what? All that time later, still working. Folks, this is incredible value. We love the Precisionist brand, and this is one of the watches that you do not want to let get away from you because it makes a great gift. It's one of those that watch lovers love, and those folks who don't know a thing about watches will go, that's really cool. You can see the price point of $650. We're not going to charge you that, not the jewelry store price. $229, and it's on 5 stress-free, interest-free payments, and you also get the bragging rights of having the most accurate quartz movement on the planet.
All right, moving on to Citizen with the Citizen Echo Drive. Item number 266490. This is one of those super complicated watches, but you know what's nice about this one? This is not as busy in the dial, even though it's got a lot of complications. We're talking about an alarm, a perpetual calendar, multiple time zones, the Citizen Echo Drive technology, which you can actually think of as your dial being a solar panel. As it brings in natural and artificial light, it will actually power up the battery inside your Citizen watch.
That you'll never have to change.
To date, Citizen has prevented more than 20, I feel like I'm speaking about like they're saving lives. Citizen has actually prevented more than 20 million batteries from being disposed of.
Well, with 80% of their watches having the Echo Drive, and I was reluctant to say this, because I mean, it all led me to believe this, but it took Citizen to release the statement that you'll never have to replace the battery in the watch because the titanium lithium-ion battery is designed to last the life, and it doesn't run out of power because it's constantly being charged by the photons coming from natural and artificial light. You're going to love the fact this is an easy-pleasy watch. Just put it on and enjoy it. But this one is a technological wonder, and you're going to get a phone book size instruction book to give you all the information about the great features. If you don't believe me, before the show's out, you've got maybe just 30 minutes, go ahead and look up this watch, realize everything that you're getting in this, and you're going to want to pay the $525. Not with us, $314.
All right, 266490. Until Sunday, midnight Eastern Standard Time, you can get it on 5 payments. Going back to Swiss made, now we're going to start showing you guys and gals out there what it really means to buy Swiss made when you don't have the incredible savings of Swiss Legend.
Well, this, you can't compare apples and oranges.
Of course not, of course not.
Because, yes, this is Swiss made, but this is not a quartz movement. This is not an automatic movement. This goes back to way old school, and if you were a watch collector, you have to have at least one mechanical. This watch is such a beautiful timepiece. They have done one of the largest pieces of sapphire crystal on the exhibition back that I've seen on an Eternal watch. Now, why is this watch $6,495? Well, what they've given you in the Madison, and this is the brown genuine alligator strap. There's part of your cost in the strap. This beautifully executed silver tone dial. Freehand configuration, no complications on the watch other than the hour, the minute, and the sweep hand. This is a handmade dial. This is not stamped out somewhere where there are thousands of these just flowing out of a machine. It is hand done. Each of the hour markers are hand applied. Each of the decorations that are put on there are hand done. But what really stands out about the watch is I bring it around. This is the technological marvel that is the automatic movement. Now, when you see it, let me see if I can get that lined up just right, guys. Sorry about that. It's going to take just a second. There we go. There we go. You're looking into the beating heart of the watch. Yeah, if you want to come in closer, you give it a shot. I'll try to get in the right light so that you can see. You can see the beautiful Cote de Genev, which is the watchmaker's decoration. And as I hold that right there, let me just turn this, and I want you to see what goes on inside. Look at the smallest of gears and the smallest of little tiny clutches clicking into place. Look into that beating heart of the watch and realize that every single piece of this watch is hand assembled. Now, this is more than just Swiss made. This is just one of those watches that is a true hallmark of the watchmaker or the cabinetier's art. And you can see you can see the furnace blue screws that are holding much of the watch together, as well as you may get a glimpse of some of the jewels that are within the watch. And by the way, you know what the jewels are for? Of course, you know. And I much you.
Of course, I do.
They're pretty. The jewels inside of a watch, understand that there are friction points within the watch. Those friction points have to have some way to ensure that they do not cause damage or wear away. Traditionally, if it was anything from an engine to something that you could use any sort of lubrication, that's going to cause it to not heat up or, in this case, lose time. What they found was rubies and sapphires many, many years ago are much harder, of course, than the metal that may be rubbing together or contact points. By using jewels within a watch, it separates metal and it allows the jewels to take the friction, which handle it better, which causes a form of natural dry lubrication, which makes the watch function much more smoothly, which gives a higher level of accuracy. All of that handmade. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, just from a distance. Now, I'm going to set this one down because this is, of course, the brown genuine alligator strap. They're going to switch out and give you the other variation. Now, which one do you like better? Do you like the brown?
You know, I'm always torn with these watches because I think that the black and silver tone they're both very dressy watches, but I think because black is more traditionally, I think, black tie, I like the silver tone and brown because it just has maybe a bit more not so formal.
Sure. There is, you can't use the word casual for a $6,500 watch.
No.
But there is a relaxed nature to that brown. Now, for you at home, you gentlemen or ladies, you might want to consider what outfit is going to be worn with it. If you happen to be a person that likes grays or other, that brown may be your better choice. If you're going with certain forms of black or of navy, or maybe something where the black needs to be a bit more, is going to be more formal for you, then that may be a good choice for you. Look at how much we've taken off of this price. Over $5,000. Good heavens, what can you buy with the additional $5,000 if you had that much disposable income just to throw around at these type of things? And even if you did have the money, would you want to spend it if you didn't have to? Remember, $5,000 off, $1,249, only $250 gets this $6,500 timepiece home. I promise it's going to be one of the crown jewels in your collection and a timepiece that you're going to cherish and an heirloom piece that you can pass down from generation to generation. We love these Eternas. Isn't that beautiful?
It's so beautiful because you really do, the mechanical movement inside, it almost looks like a work of art.
Oh, yes. If that was framed on the wall, that would look incredible. But it's going to be framed on your wrist, and you're going to have to take this watch off pretty often to show it to people because you're going to love showing that right there.
All right, we've got a little bit more time left in this hour. Let's go to some fan favorites that unfortunately have not been getting as much airtime. But as we saw with the top 10, it looks like people are still going for these Ingersoll watches. Item number 281772. We are going big, bad, and bold with the limited edition Yucca.
29 jewel automatic. Remember those jewels we were talking about a moment ago? There are 29 either sapphires or rubies inside this watch that are... Can you imagine you're using your sapphires and your rubies to lubricate a machine?
It's amazing.
I mean, that's just... If you're going to have a luxury timepiece, then go ahead and use some luxury items inside. But that's just how it's been done. Now, of course, the movement inside is an automatic movement. As we come to the live shot, I'll show you that in just a moment. Now, you know that toughened up mineral glass that's over both the front and back are going to do a great job protecting that dial and the exhibition back. Of course, the metal on the watch is all stainless steel, but in this case, it's going to be in a black IP plating. And this very, very strong black rubber strap is just the right complement to this. Now, the watch case is 47 millimeters.
Wow.
And it's water resistant to 100 meters. I love the fact that they're very proud to announce of their German design. Now, you have to understand the Ingersoll brothers back in the 1800s started their catalog, and within 10 years they started selling watches for only $1. Their watches were so popular that the phrase in 1892 was Ingersoll, the watch that made the dollar famous. Because only $1 you could get their watches. Now, all of these years later, with their heritage, they now have a connection to a Chinese company, a British affiliate, and German design. It's become international. That's what our country is. I mean, it's a melting pot. And here this watch, with all of its history, has not gone away, and yet is still shining. And here, a big seller. And the limited edition Yucca really is just gorgeous. Now, this is a multifunction. The difference between a multifunction and a chronograph, even though chronograph literally means, time teller, or this is giving you variations in digital and analog form of everything from the month, the day, a 24-hour indicator, a large date complication at the 12 o'clock, and then you have your hour, your minute, continuously operating sweep hand. Now, you happen to have, notice I can't rotate in the other direction, which means this is a unirotating bezel. With 100 meters of water resistance and that rotating bezel and with that great rubber strap, you will not have to have fear of wearing this watch to the office, wearing it out to dinner, and then if you want to go snorkeling, diving, or out to the beach or on vacation and you want to be at the pool, you've got the right watch. It's going to look great in all of those settings, and it certainly has a great deal of history all the way around. Now, I like this watch. Ingersoll watches, just to me, are like an old comfortable sofa. I mean, you just kind of fall back into them. I have a handful of watches, and you probably do too, that you just know when you wear it, it feels right. And these do. Very comfortable all the way around, and a lot of style for only $153.99. $30.80 gets this watch home. If you want to go hunt one down in the rest of the world and pay the $400 or $500 price point, okay, but why? I mean, if you want to wait a while after our shows have made it to the masses, then you can pay $251.99. A great savings.
Yeah, that's 50% off.
But look at it right now, $153.99. It was great. I was listening to two of the executives. I can't say arguing. That would be too strong of a word. They were heartily discussing the fact that we have to find ways to buy our watches at even lower prices. I mean, think about what we're selling our watches for now. And the conversation was just, I want our watch buyers. Because, of course, we make watches, and then we find watches around the world. And the whole conversation that I was eavesdropping on was, we've got to find a way to buy them.
Under this desk.
I was hiding under this desk. We've got to find a way to buy the watches for even less to pass it on to you. It was a way of, literally, it was a conversation of how do we sell it for less. I'm going, how could you possibly sell it for less and still keep the lights on here? I don't know. These guys are amazing to me. I'm very, very thankful, I know you are too, to just be a part of these watchmakers and these crazy, crazy people who love watches as much as we do. And that's you too, we know.
Yeah, we read your tweets. All right, let's move on to
when you're
another.
not looking.
Let's move on to another item. 273-541-1681, Rhonda from Jean Richard.
Why do you do this to me? Why do you bring
that?
out a watch that is just, I mean, this is such, it's the perfect watch. I mean, it is understated. It's got the right look. I mean, this is just a classic timepiece that, again, this goes on that list that I have of if I could only have one watch, would this be acceptable? And sometimes it doesn't matter how expensive something is. If it's not right, it's not right. Here is a watch, okay, alligator strap. That is a winner. All Swiss made. Of course, it has the Jean Richard name, which means you are getting quality beyond compare. This is such a simple three-hand configuration, the hour, the minute, continuously operating sweep hand, and you've got this great automatic 41 millimeter case, which I think is the perfect size, custom rotor on this watch. You can see the Côte de Genev all the way into the inner structure of the watch. He's coming in for the kill. He's going to come in even closer. It is a 27 joule automatic, and the JR1000 is an incredibly reliable timepiece. He's coming in, he's sailing in, he's like Luke Skywalker, wishing he was Han Solo, but he's not, he's just Luke Skywalker.
I love the way they did almost the pinstripe design on the rotor and how it contrasts with the Côte de Genev.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, camera work.
How it contrasts with the Côte de Genev. But also, do you see how the outer edge of the rotor where it says La Chaux de Fonds, how it almost matches up to the perlage decoration?
Oh, yes. It's almost like it completes the circle, so your eye doesn't have to lose that visual interest there. There is such a smoothness to this rotor. Not all watches have that. We both know that. This watch is beautiful, and you're right. The perlage to the very back of the watch, which means pearl-like. The Côte de Genev, which is Geneva waves, looks incredible. Even 50 meters of water resistance. Why would you do that with an alligator strap? Because if perchance, again, you'll hear me say, you get pushed in the pool, caught in the rain, something happens. How many times have you dropped your phone in the toilet? Don't answer that.
Never that, but as we know, my cell phone has a lot of problems.
Yes, mostly those photographs that are on it. Didn't know I looked, did you? 273541 is the number on that. You know it's true. She didn't know we're going to camera one. She's like, oh, not the pictures again. Yep, you're going to owe me money. $1,199.99 for a nearly $5,000 watch. I think this watch to me is just beautiful, and it is, look at that. It is not overdone. I mean, look at the watch I chose to wear for the day, happens to be a Maurice Lacroix, and look at how similar those watches are, because this is what I'd pick.
The 41 millimeter case is great. It's a perfect, it really is that classic luxury size. It's maybe even a millimeter or so above that true classic luxury size. And I think that when we talk about staple pieces, it's worth investing in styles like this, for example.
That's it.
Because these are the pieces that are always going to be around. Because I have pretty wild taste with some of the watches that I like to wear now. And maybe in 10, 20 years from now, even 5 years from now, I might get sick of some of those styles. But something like this that you'll always be able to fall back on, it's like when I talk about certain silver tone watches being the little black dress for a lady's watch wardrobe. This is one of those designs. Gentlemen, you will be able to fall back on this watch forever. And how wonderful to be able to then give this perhaps to your son or your nephew or a close family friend of yours one day to pass it down. Just that classic timeless look.
I'm going to make this one comment. Because of the sapphire crystal on here and because of the stainless steel, the 316L stainless steel, if over time, now the crystal's going to look great for generations to come. You know that just naturally the case on your watches are going to get scuffed and scratched. That's just daily life. A jeweler, just like they've done for us here, like both for you and I, they can clean this up and put it back to the highest mirror polish possible, just like you're seeing right now. This is not a chrome plating that chips off over time. You're seeing why whenever you hear us mention 316L stainless steel, we're letting you know it is the type of metal that this is what it looks like all the way down until you wear through to the other side. So this watch can look fantastic for a lifetime. It just takes a little maintenance and you're going to have it brand new all over again. You're going to love this watch. We're going to guarantee it, money back guarantee. We're going to pay for shipping. Please do not hesitate to bring that watch home. Speaking of fine timepieces, what do you like about this watch?
So this actual version, well, I should say the version that's on the leather, this one and the one we have in brown, these are my favorite. I know you love the all titanium bracelet. But this is a 49 millimeter case. Once again, we're talking about that cushion shaped case design, so the square with the rounded edges and the circular shaped bezel. I love the aeronautic design and also how it almost looks like wings for your recessed pusher style.
Oh, I think that's really, really nice because it gives just a bump away from the crown so that if you did glance against something, you do have at least a little protection of that crown there, but it's also stylized pushers. They didn't use the piston style. And if you think about aeroscope pulling from the aviation and even the space industry, would you not have it much more aerodynamic and streamlined like a wing?
No, it's perfect.
I mean, that's what you were describing was a wing. And here it is as just a smooth, almost like you would see on the external part of a plane. You don't have any sharp edges there.
Look at the subtle two-tone, too, of the black PVD coating over the titanium around the two-piece pusher and then around the bezel as well.
Well, and you know that this is not, okay, when you see the stuff on here, a lot of times we like to talk about IP plating. The fact that they've used DLC, which is diamond-like carbon, on the other part. Now that could be for right there, but of course the rest of it is in that all DLC coating, which is, I mean, I'm not going to...
It's as scratch resistant as the sapphire crystal, if not more so.
Yeah, I probably won't attempt with this because I'll do it off camera. But I mean, this, knowing that this is not just a, they didn't take it in the, a little can of Krylon and just spray paint that.
No, it's like ceramic.
That's exactly right. The coating on here is designed to look as good generations from now. That's why when you see sometimes our models we have here, which we don't sell. I don't mean Jenny. I'm talking about the watches. Well, I said the model, but I didn't want
For
you
a price she'll go.
Well, it's called 1-800. But I want you to just realize that, I have no idea what I was going to say.
You're being crazy today.
I can't help it. The medication wore off yesterday. There was something really important. You go ahead and talk. I'll come back to this in a moment.
Well, what I would talk about with this, with the aeronautic design, is you can see that it's a very cool look overall, but also it makes sense because of the components that make it up, like all the titanium. So it's incredibly, incredibly lightweight. This is one of those watches that, you know what's cool? Jean Richard and the Aeroscope collection, they actually made, I know I've talked about this on the show before, a couple of years ago, what was it? I think it was like almost 10 years ago when the pilot landed, the New York City pilot landed the plane. He had the emergency landing in the Hudson River. Sully, I believe his name was, Captain Sully. Jean Richard, he's a non-paid spokesperson for Jean Richard. At the time he was, they made a special edition Aeroscope commemorating him and his heroism.
Well, and knowing that they have put that level of detail in this watch that is as durable as the aviation standards. I mean, thank goodness not just for a great pilot, but great plane builders that was able to allow that plane to hold together on a controlled landing. And here you're seeing the highest art of watchmaking in building a durable, rugged, but beautiful timepiece. The grade 5 titanium is one of the highest grades of titanium, just like steel. I mean, not all metal is the same. Why would we think that all levels of titanium are the same? And here you're using one of the highest levels of titanium for this watch. You still have a 43 joule automatic with 42 hours of power reserve. Now, you can pay $5,400 for the watch, but please don't. Buy a whole bunch of other stuff with the $4,000 you're saving from us. $1,299.99. We think that's a great price. We think you will too. $260 gets it home, and that is a great price. Now, this is something you wanted bling earlier. I got it for you.
Oh yeah, we are. What a way to end the show. This is exactly what we did yesterday. We are ending the show with a very, very special timepiece from the company that is really credited with being the inventors of the automatic movement. Now, I want to show you how special this watch is. This is part of the Parallel Turbine collection because, well, it might look like a multi-level dial with just a little something going on. It's actually a rotor with 12 titanium blades that spin, look at that, like a turbine jet. Now you can see there is a little bit of sparkle. I'm just going to give this a couple good shakes and notice how those blades are spinning.
Are those crystals?
Oh no. Do you know that these are, and I've done the research on this with Parallel, these are VS1 top Wesselton diamonds.
And this is your new famous phrase, diamonds are included. I mean, I love that. I mean, shouldn't everything have diamonds are included?
Absolutely. What you are looking at here is actually almost the rotor itself. So as it's spinning, as you're wearing it, you know how we talk about a rotor on a timepiece, on an automatic timepiece, will spin freely to power up the movement inside. Well, here you've got that rotor as evidenced through that sapphire crystal. So you were looking at the P331 in-house built automatic movement. Now, I want to give my wrist a couple more shakes so you can see there. Now they're really spinning. They're spinning so quickly that it's almost as if you can't even see those blades. But notice also when the light hits it, see that color right there? That's a mother of pearl and black diamond backdrop. You have diamond-like carbon coating, that black DLC carbon coating all over your case and your bezel. the integrated satin leather strap with the customized pusher. And I'm going to slide this off very, very quickly so you can see the in-house built automatic movement from the company that created the automatic movement. How amazing is that?
Oh, show them the
Oh
crown.
yes, the
before
crown
we leave that
itself.
shot.
We'll set this shot up really quick so you can see. Your case, nice flush crown, right? Actually, has a little notch to it that you can feel when you move your crown around, and it pulls out almost like a little tab. Then you are able to actually pull out your crown, set the time however you want, you push it back in, and it just slides back into place. How cool is that? Obviously, it's a $6,000 watch. It's going to have little features like that, but I always like to show you those so you can see just how special and customized your Turbine XS, that stands for extra small, as this is the 41 millimeter case. 282-940, 5 payments, and you're under $500 with your first payment on this watch.
And guys, if you really like this watch, there is a gentleman's version of
yeah.
the Turbine that is larger, and it has a snake built into it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
That's a great watch.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end of our time together. We're going to do a very quick recap, show you the best-selling items of the show. You have until Sunday at midnight Eastern Standard Time to place your order so you get the TV price and the 5 stress-free payments. We'll be back out here again next week, same time, same place, with an all-new lineup. So the very best-selling item of this show is now...
Which is it?
Drum roll. I'm hoping it's a Blue Genev. Oh, it is. I didn't even know that. That's the 48 millimeter full size right there with the all-new ISA 8371 quartz chronograph movement. Swiss-made watch now available from Swiss Legend. That's right, and look at that. We've got the price under $40, interest-free on the payments. Total price is $195, $287,825. That right there, and you predicted this to be one of the best sellers.
There is no doubt about it. There is just something so classic about the look and the feel of the watch that the moment you put it on, the moment you see it, the moment you hold it in your hand, you realize it far exceeds that $195 price point, and it's going to be one of your favorite watches. Congratulations to all of you who are picking that up. You have made a very wise choice.
Coming up right after that, a stunning item from Lucian Peard. This one has that exquisite dial. We have a couple different variations of this watch that we've aired on the shows. 287-721, $120, or your first payment of $24. Black and rose with the stunning dial. 2-eye chronograph, that's a Japanese chronograph quartz movement inside with a 60-minute short time totalizer in a 44 millimeter case. 287-721.
We only have a handful of these, and you were very wise to pick one up. It's a $17,000 watch that you're able to get for $8,699. Not a watch that everybody can do, but if you can put that $1,740 down on your 5 stress-free, interest-free payments, you have done a great job to get the Hublot Big Bang King Black Magic. That has the Hublot 1400 movement inside, which is a 23-jewel automatic sapphire crystal. You're going to love the ceramic and titanium case and 300 meters of water resistance. It is a big seller because that is the value of the day to get almost $9,000 off the retail price.
I love when you do the recap. Hey,
I'm trying here. We've only got so much time.
This is your watch. Oh, and they just took the graphics away.
Oh, that's okay, because I know everything there is to know about it, because it has 200 parts on the inside. It has a J, 42 jewel automatic, and absolutely incredible watch. So go ahead. There's only 200 of these for the entire planet. 1 in silver, 1 in gold, and we love this watch all the way around. It's
And they're
the
numbered
2HR.
limited editions.
That is right. I mean, that is absolutely right. You know that no two are going to be exactly alike because you have a little bit of difference in the numbering. Let's move on to the next watch because that has been a big seller. There's only a handful of those left. So if you're going to get it now. How about a new Lucian Peard?
Wow, you know, I didn't even recognize this Vallarta when we were airing it. This is a true multi-function calendar inside that dial. It's a 44 millimeter case. Croco embossed genuine leather strap on there. Rose tone and black is the color combo. $100, $284-$239. Coming up right after that.
Oh, that's great. That's also the one that has the retrograde.
Oh, yeah, the day of the week. 287-827. This is another one of the full-size 48 millimeter Blue Geneves Swiss-made watch from Swiss Legend with the ISA 8371 movement. Black ceramic bezel insert and a rose tone case and bracelet. $40, 5 payments. Right behind that is the 3-hand in a 38mm case with a mother of pearl dial. 287-849, 5-year warranty on the Swiss-made ISA movement inside.
You've been watching Swiss Watch International's World of Watches. We always love when you join us. On behalf of Megan and myself, thank you so much. Continue to catch some of the great deals online, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.